After the vicious attacks on Chris Rock last night, we think it's only right here at the Flagrant 2 podcast to defend the comic's honor to tell jokes. So here we go. If you didn't see the Oscars, Chris Rock got himself in a hairy situation. He shined a light on female alopecia, while Jada's head shined a light on everything else. Chris was making fun of Jada's balding, but seriously, how is Will supposed to get turned on if she has a woman's haircut? Now, I'm not saying that he's gay. Wow. He likes women, specifically ones that swim for Penn.
Holy shit.
All I'm saying is last night wasn't the first time Will fondled another man to make Jada happy.
Okay.
And Will's hand that struck Chris Rock was actually a metaphor for his relationship with Jada. Open when he wanted it to be closed. But let's be honest. Last night, Will Smith looked like he was from the streets of Philadelphia. And Jada looked like she was from the movie. Now, after all that drama, Will Smith still took home an Oscar. I'm talking about the award, not a Mexican guy to fuck his wife while he watched in the corner.
Okay, you gotta chill. Wow.
Now, to clarify, Will won the Oscar for Best Actor. People were saying it was for the Lifetime Achievement Award, and no, that's not it. That Oscar goes to the plumber that unclogged Jada's shower drain. Now, I am tired of people not giving Jada enough credit, okay? It was actually Jada that helped Will get in character for King Richard. Because when she gives blowjobs, her head looks like a bouncing tennis ball. Now, a lot of people are saying this never happened during Oscars So White. Exactly, okay? The white Oscars are mind-numbingly boring. Or as Jada would call it, a relationship with Will. So,
the people who pressed on with that American creed, yes, we can.
Yes, together, we will make America better.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Unintelligent Intellectuals. Brought to you by our sponsor today.
BetterHelp.
Yeah, BetterHelp. And Bro Donald. What's beef?
Blue Chew.
Optimistic. All the meat. Oh. Someone was telling me about you know about Bro Donald's? Was that you telling me about it? I was like, what's Bro Donald's? I was like, is this like McDonald's new way to appeal to the African American community?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Cause they're like, hip hop flavor and all that shit. I'm like, oh fuck no. Yeah, no, but it's not.
We got fried chicken sauce.
Yeah. But no, it's in because all the corporations
bring your skull cap down on here and get yourself some chicken sandwich.
Yeah. 75% real chicken. No, it's in Russia because all the corporations pulled out, including McDonald's. So, but I guess they didn't pack up the M's off the buildings and run away. So they ended up pushing the M sign over and just adding another line in there, and they labeled it Bro Donald's in Russia. So I guess they're taking over.
I guess it's a way to still make money and.
Yeah. So I don't know, but and then I saw this guy Pusha T, the rapper. He's talking about how he was responsible for the jingle. McDonald's or part of it. He's just have you seen about that?
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba?
Yeah, I guess so. And that was just but then Justin Timberlake had that one song that was all about that. But
I'm loving it has always been a phrase.
Yeah. He's like, that's their slogan, but he's like, but then I came up with the rest of it, and they're just ba-da-ba-ba-ba. He's like, well, yeah, a small element of it. I'm just like, I don't think so.
Who cares?
Yeah, I was just like, it's such a random thing for him to care about, for him to talk about. I was just like, all right, man. But apparently McDonald's ran this huge ad campaign. They had all these artists on there, and I guess he was one of them. And now he's claiming that they only gave him $500,000. Look at how big their stuff they've sold since then.
Bro, you're not doing what it's McDonald's.
Yeah. And not known for caring about the people who commit, and I don't know. I don't know what he was expecting. But he said he's doing jingles for Arby's. He's like he owns like 40% of the Arby's jingle. And he's like, oh, I have no idea how true this is, but they're
Where's
just
the
like,
meat?
yeah, like we have the meat.
We have the meat.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, this is you. And he's like, yeah, and I was like, it's a weird thing to own. This is what to contribute to. I don't know.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, but he, I don't know why it made me laugh so much, but he came out like this McDonald's diss track. Yo, you gotta hear this shit.
Why didn't you warn me of it?
I'm so sorry. It made my day. I was just like, oh, I want you to be as surprised as I was. Oh, wait. I think I left it in here. Yeah.
I'm the reason the whole world love it. Now I gotta crush it. Filet your fishes, then you should be disgusted. How dare you sell a square fish, asking us to trust it? A half slice of cheese, Mickey D's on a budget. Arby's crispy fish is simply it. With lines round the corner, we might need a guest list. Eggs is stage left, the sandwiches taste fresh. A little cube of fish from a clown is basic. Say less, this argument is baseless. Drowned in tartar, that filet-o-fish is tasteless. See, Arby's only deals in the greatness. I bet the house on it like it's Vegas. Look, I could sell water to a well. How could you ever think I'd fail? Yeah, the crispy fish sandwich blazing trails. The mother clown's just too frail. Yeah, if you know me and you know me well, our fish is gonna tip that scale.
This is a paid advertisement brought to you by Arby's.
Arby's.
I have no idea. And then the internet, like, someone was like, oh, McDonald's answered back.
Yeah. They never learn. We'd have been here longer than all of you. Huh? Must have been out your mind. Signed your name on that dotted line. Going against the champs for a stamp and some dollar signs. Sorry you're out of time. That little shot was cheap. It's no wonder you're weak. Rapping about fish. I bet they paid you in meat. Try to tear down our name to get ahead. How you sell the same damn sandwich on different bread? Another clout chaser chasing eyes when your chain can barely stay alive. Sweaty sandwiches, we hate your fries. Crinkle cut. Man, give it up, you should stay inside. Don't come out to play until your menu finds some tasteful sides. Next time, don't send it until we come for you. Usually get M's, but today we took the W.
What did you just have? Me?
Yo,
I feel like an old white man. Like, what is this?
yeah, I don't understand. These young whippersnappers. Yeah, this is just, I love the internet, man. It's so stupid. I was like, oh man, they're beefing over.
I didn't know Pusha T had such
high esteem.
stock in a fucking jingles.
Yeah, me neither, man. I was just like, oh, I love the clips. And then he just like got real serious. He was talking about this goddamn, oh yeah, I got a raw deal from McDonald's. I was like, yo, bro, come on.
They stole it from us.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the beef that happened over the weekend.
No, one of them.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing this now, because if we had done this like earlier, I think I would have had a very unpleasant rant.
Oh yeah, oh man, I get it. Yeah, I'm pleasant away because I'm sure that wasn't the most pleasant experience.
The slap heard around the world.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't give a shit, so I'm just.
That's how I feel about it. I'm still kind of in shock, man. I mean,
enough people are saying what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
To coin Crowder's phrase.
Yeah.
his what a piece of shit segment.
Oh yes, that's funny.
I think it's called what a piece of shit.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Enough people are saying that he's a piece of shit that I don't have enough anger that's going to be long enough to like care too much. It's like, oh, everybody pretty much agrees he's a jackass and that his wife's controlling and they have a toxic relationship.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not on social media like that, but I've seen enough people. Like I assumed that that's what everybody's take was gonna be, because I mean, he himself, like after he did, like he had that apology and was like, all right, well at least he acknowledges.
It was a little mixed at first, but then just as like time has gone on, it's just universally or not universal. You know, if it's the majority of it is just like you probably shouldn't have just struck him in the face.
Yeah, yeah. I was having a whole influx of feelings in the moment, man, because. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
But like, no, I've been really surprised because there's some people who are still defending him. Like I said, I'm not really on social media, but I've seen certain things, like when Tiffany Haddish was like, "Oh, well, it's good to see someone defending their wife, a black man defending his wife," and it's like, there's no fucking like
but that didn't last long. That didn't last long because then everybody started saying, "Yo, this is like ghetto shit."
Yeah. Okay, I'm happy that that's the consensus. Yeah. This shit's crazy.
There's like some people were having takes like that where they were like saying like, "Yo, what does this make us black men look like?" and shit like that.
Yeah, that's good, man. Because
and then people were saying like, "Oh, like if that was a white comedian like Ricky Gervais, he probably wouldn't have done that." Yeah,
there's so many elements in there, man. It was so impactful for me because growing up, it's like. Will Smith was the man. Like, he was the big influencer. Like, he had the TV show. He was the funny guy.
He had the random black comments.
Yeah. It was but it was deep though. Like, I mean, the show was deep. Like, he gave a shit about.
It's sort of like Independence Day, where it's a highly trained fighter pilot, and he's got to go, "Welcome to Earth."
Yeah. I wish I was a barbecue.
Then in real life, it's like this. Echo Niner, we have elements coming in, and it's gonna have to check that out, right? Speeds seem to be exceeding something that I can't keep up with. Like, it's all like really like mellow tone, like what's gonna happen? And I'm now crashing and I'm dying.
Jeez. No, but it was so cool. Like I even like Wild Wild West. Granted, I was a kid, so.
Well, you probably wouldn't like it if you saw it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna revisit it because the song's still in my mind, and I was like, yeah, that was dope.
You might like when what is it? Oh God, Kenneth Branagh and him are going back and forth. He's making fun of him for being black, and he's making fun of him for being a cripple.
Oh shit! Oh, I remember that guy, the damn mustache. Yeah. Yes, Yosemite Sam. But yeah, but like growing up, like Men in Black, Fresh Prince, Independence Day. Just like he was everywhere, and he was like always Bad Boys.
Well, he's been done ever since them Red Table Talks.
Yeah, man.
So everybody's like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro?"
But I always took that as like, oh, that's his personal life, and it's like
that's an insane personal life.
It is. But like, ever since I heard about his kids, I was like, oh, this guy's on a different fucking planet. Because it's like he's like because he's been talking about like, oh yeah, we just let them do what they want in this capacity. I was like, oh, like
we have a free thinking household.
Yeah, I was like, oh, y'all just on a different platform. And I always thought like all actors were like weird like that or some shit, or at least the majority. But I think it's really hard because I only see like a handful of them. They're just like, oh, like Matthew McConaughey, Denzel Washington. Like, no, this is who I am. But I think largely they look at it like, oh, I act as this is what I do for money, but I'm not, like, this isn't who I am as a person. Like, they have a really strong identity outside of their constant need for validation. So it's like, so who you see on screen isn't that different from who they are in real life. But I think for most actors, especially Will, like, probably been in there all his life, and he was talking about in his memoir how he like feels like he's always been trying to overcompensate for not being there for his mom when his dad hit him and stuff like that.
He's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, which is like, this is like, what the fuck? Like this is like you transformed exactly into the person that you say you've been trying to combat this whole time. So like, what are you talking about?
I don't know if I'll go that far.
I don't go that far.
His dad was like a woman beater, and
yeah, but
I don't know.
Okay, well, this is what I'll say because he always used to one of my favorite interviews with Will Smith is when he's talking about this book. He's talking about The Alchemist, and I was like, oh, I love that book. And he's talking about like the inspiration that he draws from it, and how you could be like you could manifest things into reality. I was like, oh wow, that's so profound. It's like it's so cool that he takes on that kind of role. He's like, oh, you have to really like work on it, like eat, sleep, and breathe this, whatever it is that you are passionate for, and like just pursue it to even if you never make it. I was like, oh, that's so deep. I love that. I've heard those messages in different ways, but it's cool to see him talk about it in this way. And I took it as a genuine. He was like reflecting genuinely on how he approaches life. Mm-hmm. And in that rant, he was talking about how his he was looking on the screen one day, and he's like talking to his dad. He's like, "Oh, I want to be the next so and so," and his dad is like, "No." He's like, "Why don't you just don't focus on doing that? Focus on being you. Like focus on being the first Will Smith." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's profound. Like just have confidence, be the best version of you. Don't try to emulate somebody else." And he talks about how his dad taught him how to lay one brick at a time and build this wall, and it's all about doing one brick at a time. And but then at the same time, he beat his wife. So it's like, oh, he's a terrible, great father, a great mentor, but like a terrible husband.
But he abandoned him.
Yeah, I know. But like he's talking about in that screenshot. No, like in that screenshot moment, because he's like reflecting on his experiences with his father, and he's just like, okay, this was the bad and this was the good. Okay. And so now it's like, okay, well, I know Will Smith all my life, like, okay, this was the good, and yeah, he's struggling personally, like, but it's like, he's just crazy, like, he doesn't know how to do stuff, or he's not rooted as a real person, the way that I understand it, so that's why his kids are different than how I understand kids to be. And then when the stuff came out about his relationship, I was like, that's just an extension of that. But then when he manifests all that, whatever it was, pent up frustration or angry at people talking smack, and even though he spent more time in Hollywood than I've spent alive, and then all of a sudden he diverts to like this, I'm going to go up and smack somebody because they said a mild joke that I don't like. Then it's just like, you're fulfilling your father's identity. Because your father was like, oh, he was good for these things, he was bad for these things. And like, the good stuff was really good, the bad stuff was pretty bad. I'm like, this is the same shit. For me, the way that I see it. Because I'm sure a lot of people look at Will the way that I did. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I wasn't like, oh, look at this kid growing up. I was like, he was almost like a older brother that I saw on screen. And to see him acting and he was like one of the only unblemished black people in Hollywood, outside of like the really strong ones that are like,
I don't know, the Scientology was fucking weird.
I didn't know he was in Scientology. Yeah. Oh, I still attribute.
I think he left it, but he was in it for a minute.
Oh wow, I would attribute that.
And this was back in the day too. Like,
oh boy,
he's not had a good second half of his life.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought it was just the movies. Oh man. But yeah, like it's just so like he just like I didn't think he was Morgan Freeman, in Denzel Washington, but he was like, oh, like he's one of these guys. Like,
no, he's just a psycho.
Yeah, but like before this moment, I didn't see it. Before this moment, I think I kind of excused it.
No, I saw it.
Yeah, I guess I had my blinders on. I was too optimistic about who he was.
I mean, I didn't see this coming, or like him being in like an entanglement or whatever the fuck she called it.
Yeah, I could see him just being like...
I didn't know if it was all like that, but I knew there was like something off with him.
Yeah. But that's what I thought was going to manifest. Like, okay, I don't like her anymore. Like, because at the Red Table Talk, he was like, yeah, I was done with you. I was like, damn, he went from I don't believe in divorce to like, okay, his first wife got a divorce from her, but he really wanted Jada. And now, and then at the Red Table, he was talking, he was like, yeah, no, I was done with you. He's like, she's like, yeah, we're going through our problems. And he's like, no, it was over. I was like, holy shit. But now it's like, I was like, oh, that's his personal struggle. You know, hopefully he works it out or figures out who he wants to be with. Sometimes people just grow apart. Da, 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 da. I didn't think it was going to manifest in this kind of like fundamental breakdown as a person. Like, who the fuck does that?
Because he's not a person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Goddamn alien, bro.
He spent too much time trying to develop some type of image.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He's not a person.
Yeah. And he's lived his whole life like that. So it's like constant.
Well, maybe not his whole life, but like
I'd say
post
large,
25, like
yeah. I would say a large majority then. I mean,
he's
my whole life, I guess I should say.
I'm saying, I think in the beginning, but like he spent so much time cultivating an image of who he is.
Right.
That he's like, and then he's, I don't know. I don't even know where to get into this shit. 'Cause it's just so fucking nuts.
Oh man. Oh, it's funny.
He married some chick who's still in love with her ex.
Yeah.
Who's dead. And like their daughter, like I think it was like Willow, like wrote a poem to Tupac or something like that.
Oh wow.
Like it was like weird. Like why would you know in depth enough information about like this ex dude who used to fuck your mom?
Yeah, I'll be so interested in like what conversation that happened in that household are like. Like it's just
terrible. That's why their kids are the way they are.
Right? Yeah.
Because if they had like a normal like
upbringing,
yeah, like their kids would be getting into bullshit, or they'd be like really good, and they would look normal. Instead, they're not even people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they're the products of Hollywood. These aliens that I have no idea. Like I can't relate on any kind of level. Like what their life experiences are. Like
and then when his dad, like, what is it? I think Jaden said some tweet, something like that's what
that's how we do or something.
Like, come on, bro. Like, you don't know anything about being black, and then like the lowest. I wonder how much his like elementary school education cost.
Yeah, right.
400,000. What do you know about the streets?
Yeah, man. Like it's weird because like, everybody's like that. Like I hate all things. I'll try not to get too personal, but
you mean like the black aspect of it?
Yeah. Like I'll go to like a nice suburban neighborhood, and like the cats there will act like they're from Southside Chicago or like it's just or Harlem. Like it's like it's.
Well, that's why I was trying to comfort you that there wasn't a lot of long-term like support of just like I'm upset, so I'm just gonna assault somebody.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's how.
In the beginning, like the first day or two, but since then everybody's kind of just like, yo, that's a little wild. Like, you can't just strike a man in the face.
No, it's absolutely fucked up, and it's the stupidest thing you could possibly fucking do.
And then people are talking about
there's nothing Philly about that shit. That was a stupid like that. Like all the cats that act that way are dead. Like there's no fucking like imagine somebody does
because it was a small thing. Like he didn't say nothing that crazy. That's the thing. Like if he said something wild and he did it, more people would be like, I could see.
I know, but like people are equating this to like
if she had cancer and he said something about her bald head, then like if he did and hit him, it'd be like, I mean, he shouldn't have hit him, but that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. No,
but because it was just like, she's balding.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. If it was because at first I was like really upset, and I think it was at first I thought it was the slap, but to be honest, it's like. Well, first let me.
I think of what was worse was when he yelled at the top of his lungs.
Right,
because the second time, not the first time. But
yeah,
I mean, he was like the chill dude. Like it was just a G.I. Jane joke, and then he like yells at the top of his lungs,
quivering. Yeah.
Yo, fucking mouth. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man, you're unhinged.
Yeah, like I wanna say this. Like, imagine the scenario playing out the way that it did in like average Joe on the street. Like somebody
Could you imagine like Tom Hanks yelling that at like Ricky Gervais? Keep fighting like you're fucking wrong.
Oh my God, Ricky Gervais will be like, Wilbur! Oh my God, no. That would be terrible. Yeah, there's so many things. Well, let me start from here because this is one criticism that I hate when people are like, oh yeah, the Philly came out of him. The because like that's you don't act like that in those kind of places.
That was 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no fucking way that like you devolved to like. And even if you
coming
did,
up to me and like doing something reckless at 60, be like, oh, that DC came out.
yeah. You know, he lived in the South Side when he was 18. But no, like if you do that kind of shit in those kind of communities, like you're not coming back from that. Like you're like you gonna smack somebody for saying some wild shit. Like you're like.
Well, it wasn't wild. That's the thing.
I know, but it's something that you interpret to be wild. If you interpret that this shit's wild,
that's he didn't interpret it like that.
I will
because he laughed at the joke.
Right, but this is
a whole like.
Let me try.
This is him having a breakdown because of all the bullshit that he's been going through for like the last year or two.
Yeah,
or a couple years, right? I can't remember when that.
Yeah,
all that news broke out, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's that
probably at least half.
And then she got upset, and then he looked at her, and then he just got up and decided to do so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm just reacting to the people who are not him particularly right now. I'll dive into his behavior, this little bitch. But just his like the people who are reacting to it, who are looking at it like, oh yeah, that's the Philly coming out. First, yeah, like you said.
Oh, like you're talking about glorifying.
Yeah, like this kind of
bad,
street
like
kind
ghetto
of
behavior.
Yeah, like this isn't ghetto behavior. Like you wouldn't. Well, like I'll say, like you're not gonna go up to somebody.
I mean, ghetto meaning like ratchet behavior.
Yeah, but this is like a glorification.
I don't mean it's something that like always happens in the ghetto. It's more so like the.
What I'm saying, like this is a glorification of what people. Of the ghetto behavior. People look at like, oh, this is something that will happen in the ghetto. I was like, no, if this happened in the ghetto, it's like, like this guy would die. Like there's no way. Like
I mean, if he kept doing it, yeah.
I mean, like if you go up to somebody randomly.
Yeah, but if you go up to but not everybody's not gonna come back with something. Like,
yeah, like okay, they're acting like he's some like this hardcore. He's doing this shit. Ask 50 Cent if you've ever slapped somebody like that. Like, there's no fucking way. And look, you see that guy. You're like, yo, I'm talking about Brut hanging from the ceiling. 50 Cent, like gangbanger cats are like, no, we don't fuck with him. Ask him if he goes around smacking people. There's no fucking way. No, I guarantee you he didn't. I guarantee fucking to you.
If he thought the dude was a punk.
Like if he calls him out, first you call him out, and then like you do something like that. Like that's one thing. But if you just, I'm offended by what you're saying or what you said, upset somebody I care about. There's no scenario where someone living is gonna go up and slap that person in the mouth. There's no scenario.
That's what I did on the stage.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like that's not gangster behavior. Like that's not. Oh yeah, the Philly side. Like no, the fuck, it's not. It's like that's such a misinterpretation. Like
I stopped paying attention to that.
Yeah, so, I hear you, man.
I know it hits more for you because it's then a reflection of like black people's behavior.
That
and stuff
too,
like that.
But I'm just saying like it's just like that behavior in and of itself is a false representation of what happens. In those areas, like no, that's not gonna happen there. But for sure, like the impact, like that's what really upset me. The impact of what he did. Like if he had smacked him and then he walked down his seat and he was just like, watch it, Rigo, or like watch it, whatever. Like, are you cracking up? Like some like whatever made a joke. It was like, yeah, that was a little fucked up. That was uncalled for. But like I think the fact that. Because I thought it was all staged. At first, I thought they might have been able to play it off.
It's maybe still staged. Who knows?
I don't think so, man.
This is just ridiculous.
Because the way that he reacted, like the way that he because at first like he was laughing, he went up. Oh, Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Sorry, Rock. You know what it is. You crossed the line. Da da da. Like, all right. Like, you know.
That would be weirder.
Yeah, it would be weirder, but at least
I would be more concerned if he assaulted him and then Cassie was like, "Better be careful, man." Like,
oh, okay. I mean,
I would think he's a legitimate psychopath.
No. Like, I would have thought like, oh, like he's just fucking around with his friends. Like, if you're not gonna do that out in the street with a random dude, but if like you're just like fucking around,
if I hit you, what the fuck are you talking?
No. But it's just like if I said something out of it was like if I said something out of pocket, like I hit a sore spot, and like my brother smacked me, I was like, yo, this motherfucker. And he's just like, yo, man, like just chill out, man. You crossed the line. I'll be like, yo, like at first I'll be on edge. I'm like, oh, this little bitch, but then at the same time I'll be like, oh, let me kind of like, wait a minute, did I say something out of pocket? Like, oh shit, yeah, he had this, da da da. Like maybe I'll back down, maybe I'll like escalate, but
no, you can't hit somebody, man. That's just crazy.
But it's like if you're in a bar, like if someone says something wild to your girl, like you're like, yo, you're like calm the fuck. It's like, hey, all right, man, I didn't mean da da da. It's just like I see something like that, like, oh, this is like a brotherly tussle. Like I would have seen it as a brotherly tussle. But it's like the fact that he had that like wild, like, Chief, my wife's name. Like I'm just like, oh shit, this guy is lost his fucking mind. But yeah, but I'm not. It still would have been like, yo, this is kind of wild. Like, don't do that. Like on stage, like, yo, do that away from the cameras, away from the stage. But if like that happened, they're just like so comfortable because they've been in Hollywood for so long. They just feel like they're just hanging out in their living room and like.
That wasn't it.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, but I'm saying like I'm trying to take the most optimistic, non-lethal jag.
That was just an insane thing to do. Just like it was insane for Kanye to go up and be like, Beyonce's the greatest singer of all time, and like she should have won the award.
Right.
It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then like, or whatever, and then like he leaves, everybody's like, what the?
You're right. But no, but like if he was like let's say he was hanging out in his living room and it was just like Taylor Swift and like a couple friends and they're just like, oh, this person's the best, and he's like, nah, I disagree. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's like
no, but that's insane. Like you know that's what you don't do.
I know, but it's like
so there's no justification in it. It's just
what I'm saying. Like if
it's an insane.
I'm trying before I rip him a new asshole. I'm trying to be nice. I'm just saying, like let's say if Kanye was in his living room, it's like, oh, don't shit on somebody's parade. But it's like, oh no, but it's like, oh, I hear what you say. Like, man, what are you talking about? No, like
no, you asked him if he's off his medication.
I mean, it's just I'm like take away the stage, take away the cameras. But
the whole point of it being crazy is that there is a stage.
I know. I'm trying to say like in a different environment, I would see this. I might look at this in a different way.
Well, in a different environment, it'd be insane. Chris Rock just like walks into his like house. Hey, G.I. Jane's coming up. Like,
yeah,
the fuck.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to take the most least lethal approach before I go get into them because.
But now we're just playing with semantics.
I am, but I'm trying to decock the peacock. You know, I'm trying to be like, all right, well,
he doesn't give a shit.
I know.
He's not even gonna see this. You're acting like he's gonna see this. I don't want to.
Maybe he's our 10th subscriber. We don't know. This guy's crazy. We don't know what the fuck he's capable of.
Accounts to look at all the shit that people are talking about.
What he's capable of, man. He might be looking for all the dark webs. Like, who's talking shit now? These guys talk shit. Subscribe. Who knows?
He thinks he's Gemini Man.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that movie, to be fair, so I don't know if all these movies are
Neither
bad.
have I.
I like Bad Boys 3, though. But, that was better than I thought it was going to be. But, I'm trying to, like, so, yeah, I'm switching up, like, fundamental building blocks of the environment in order to legitimize what happened.
So in order to legitimize what happened, you have to completely change the entire scenario.
Yeah, like fundamentally. if everything else was different and this happened, like, oh, okay. And it's like, and what he said would have to change too. He's just like, oh, wow, wonder how many dicks she fit in her mouth. Like, something like, it has to be some wild shit. Like, it has like something like crazy, completely different environment. Like, and then for him to say what he, or for him to do what he did.
His
like,
reaction.
Yeah. That would have been like, okay. But, maybe in that scenario. But it's like, I don't know, man. That's not what happened. That wasn't the environment, and fuck it. I'll try to be nice. I think that day, my son had gotten in trouble doing something. No. The missus was talking to my boy, and they were going back and forth about something, and he was just like, oh, well, it's not fair because, like, we had a lot of expectations for him. He has 3 younger siblings on the way. So, 2, and then another one on the way. And, so I'm talking to him, and then I show him this
Wait, you
clip.
got another one on the way?
Yeah. I didn't tell you?
No.
Oh, shit. My bad.
You got number 4?
Yeah. I'm done. I'm bashing my balls in here. I'm done.
Because you just had this.
Yeah. But,
well, congratulations.
Strong fucking swimmers, thanks, man. But yeah, so I'm talking to him, and then he gets upset, and he's like talking back, like, no, but it's not fair, yada yada. And I pull him aside. I was like, all right, listen, and I was giving the bitch ass nigga talk. It's like yeah.
Sorry, I like spaced and was like,
bitch ass
highly
nigga.
inappropriate.
Yeah. It probably it most definitely is, but I do it. I'm a terrible parent, and I have 4 of these fuckers. But
well, it's good to know.
Yeah. This is 4, just 4 minutes.
You're adding to the fucking chaos.
4 whoopsies. Yeah. But they like I always tell them like, oh no, like our job is to raise you up into a man. Like it's not like if we could be friends, like that would be cool, that would be nice, but it's like, but these are the rules and these are the consequences for breaking these rules.
Okay.
That's just a matter of fact. I was like, your childhood's gonna be as great or as terrible as you want it to. You make it. I was like, these are your choices. I was like, we're not moving. And so I'm like, because when you act like this, when you act like that, it's like that's like when you complain about something and you're not talking to the person you have a problem with, that's bitch ass nigga behavior. Like, I'm not raising you to be a bitch ass nigga. I'm raising you to be a man. And you confront your problem straight on, yada yada yada. And it's like you talk about things. So he was just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. I was like, I don't give a fuck. So yeah, terrible parent. I'm cussing up a storm. I was like, I don't give a fuck about what you want to do. I was like, this is what you're gonna do. These are our rules. Period. You're gonna talk about it. And I'm explaining expectations. Don't be a bitch ass nigga. And I show him this clip about Will Smith, smacking Chris Rock, and then sitting down and cussing up a storm. And I asked him like, oh, what do you see? And he's just like, whoa, is this real? I'm like, yeah, it just happened. And he's just like, oh yeah, like he's acting like a, we call it a band, like bitch ass nigga.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah. There you go.
Tell the white delegation.
Yeah.
I like Mondays.
Let the brothers know.
I like Mondays. Have you heard Mondays?
Mondays, no.
So this is like an insight into piece of shit whiteness.
Oh, okay. It's okay. You got piece of shit black father perspective.
So I've heard this before, where basically like if you like you're in or around black people or discussing black people, and you're like, God, don't you just hate the fucking Mondays?
Oh God.
But it'll be like, you know, like, but it'll be like Sunday or like Tuesday, but. There's like some ratchetness happening and you don't like it, so you're like, God, the Mondays are the worst, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, that's clever. I like it. Okay.
Less vulgarity.
Subversive. Yeah. I don't believe in that.
The best type of racism is subversive racism.
Yeah. That's what everyone's afraid of. Oh my God. Did you hear what he said? Have a nice day? This motherfucker's racist. Okay, man. Whatever. Everyone's racist. Fucking Monday. It's like,
Just another Monday.
oh shit. But no, but yeah. So he was just like, "Oh, bad behavior," and I was just like, "Yeah." I was like, "What else do you see?" And he's like, "Nothing." And but I was like, "No, but look at Chris Rock's reaction." I was just like, he took a real he could have ripped into him. He could have said all kind of wild stuff. He could have hit him back. Or even tried to, or he could have done all kind of stuff. But he chose to take the high road. He was just like, "Nope. I'm not going to attack him. I'm not going to antagonize him anymore. I'm just going to relax and be professional. We're going to move on." He's like, "It's not an issue." And I was like, "I want you to be that kind of man. I don't want you to be this kind of man." And I was like, "And I don't want you to idolize these people." Because and I told him when I was a kid, it's like, I used to idolize this guy. I used to idolize Will Smith because he was a big dude. He was in action movies. He was the funny guy as a kid. He was the man. I was like, so be careful not to idolize a person. It's like, you have to idolize how they move. They move these ways. And I was like, that's why we have all these rules. Not because we don't like you as a person, but because we love you and we want you to behave in these ways. We're trying to culture that kind of out of you. So stop with that bitch ass nigga shit. But it's just like, like the perfect teaching tool. I didn't realize that Will Smith would be so instructive for children's development.
Well, you're resourceful.
Yeah. I'll pull it out my ass. But it's just like that behavior was like, and I know the thing a lot of people are like the popular thing is like a feminine type of behavior, like acting off emotion. But it's like, I grew up around a lot of strong females. Like, they don't act like this. I was like, this is bitch. It's like this is insecure. Like this is coming from a place of insecurity. And it's like, and I guess typically, or at least lately, especially social media, I think a lot of women have been showcased as more insecure than not, and I think unfortunately this kind of reaction, this type of reaction, has been associated with women, and it's like that's why I think people associate being emotional with you're acting real feminine right now.
Over emotional.
Yeah, acting over emotional. That's right. But it's like, when I think about a strong woman, I don't think about any kind of over emotional. A strong woman is the opposite. It's like, okay, I could take a strong woman take all kind of shit. Takes more than internally could take internal damage, and then the strongest.
A strong
man,
woman isn't over emotional.
Yeah, 100%. That's why it's like I don't
But you should, as a man, be in control of your emotions.
100%.
So that's why they're saying it's feminine.
But I don't think it's. I wouldn't call it feminine. I know that's the popular thing.
Well, no, it's because it's one of those things. It's like
You're talking to sleep.
No. I was like, I'll say it. So it's like the whole thing. A lot of you were raised by single mothers, and it shows.
Yeah. No, I see that, but it's like and this is what I mean. I don't those single mothers who act like that. That's not a strong woman.
No, but that's who does that. Is a single mom.
I get you. Yeah, the stereotypical single mom who acts like that. But it's
because a woman who's got her dude isn't.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's your son. Go fucking handle it.
Right. I just want to redefine terms.
That's why it's a feminine behavior, because you're acting like a woman.
Well, you're acting like that type of woman. But when I think about a strong woman, the type of women in my family, it's they wouldn't do that. So they wouldn't act like that. It's but that's because they're strong women. So calling this feminine behavior.
You're missing it. It's because women aren't physical.
Yeah,
they're emotional, right? So what happens when they get upset?
Well, that's
how do they lash out?
Well,
passive aggression.
Yeah,
they fucking degrade you or something like that.
But that's a weak woman though. Weak women act like that. Strong women. I'm not talking about brawly
No, but I'm saying that's something that women do. Correct?
Yeah, but I'm saying
men don't do that, but if they're raised in that type of an environment, they then redirect that, and now they're physically violent. Yeah. That's their go-to response to any type of uncomfortable thing. That's why it's a feminine behavior.
I understand what you're saying.
It's literally only tied to being around a woman.
But I think, I think it's tied to being around it's been associated with a lot of weak women, because a lot of weak women raise
what's the
their,
key
their
word
voice.
there?
Weak women.
No, what's the key word? Singular.
Weak.
It's a woman.
Weak woman. No, because it's like you could be like overly emotional as a man, and that's what Will did. So like he had an overly
Yeah, and
emotional
he has
response.
huge daddy issues.
Yeah,
And is with a controlling woman.
I know, but I'm saying, and I think she's a weak woman also. Like you can't take a fucking G.I. Jane joke. G.I. Jane was a strong woman who overcame abusive relationship. I know, but she didn't stop him either. And then she laughed after he did it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that's a weak woman. That's a weak woman. That's why I don't.
It's a narcissistic person who's controlling.
Yeah, she's narcissistic. She's controlling, but it's like I'm black and I'm hungry too. You know what I mean? Like I could do. Like she's narcissistic. She's controlling, but she's also a weak woman.
I mean, that's simplifying it.
Is it? I think. I mean,
to take somebody who's manipulating everybody around them and then saying like, "Oh, that's a weak person."
No. Yeah. Okay.
You're
I'm not trying to undermine the complexity of their relationship and how that all transpired. I'm saying that
she literally is still talking about how she loves Tupac.
Yeah.
And she's been married to a grown man who, for like...
Yo, she's like chick off of that one show who's fantasizing about getting plowed by... She's over here in a happy marriage, like great relationship, great kids.
No sex or something? What is that thing?
I forgot what it's called. I destroyed it out of my memory.
But yeah, I feel like that's a...
No, but I'm not simplifying their relationship, their dynamic, and why he did what he did. But the analysis that people like, that's feminine behavior. It's like, no, that's weak feminine behavior. Like, because feminine behavior, like when I think about strong, I was thinking about this before. It's like when I think about a strong woman, it's like a strong woman.
Masculine behavior can be bad and good.
Yeah, but when I think about a strong man, like, because I don't think about, like, a strong man wouldn't go out and hit people, right? Like, when I think about a strong dude, like, he knows how strong he is, like, all right, man. Y'all
yeah, but if somebody beats their wife, that's like, it's a guy that's like...
But that's a weak man.
Yeah, but...
That's a weak man. You're beating on...
But you're getting too much into the semantic of the word.
I think I am, but I want the words to mean what they fucking mean. Like, yeah, I'm just,
that technically would be correct. It would be a feminine behavior of using your aggression.
No. I think because because the way that he responded was like, oh, I'm going to respond with force. And so it's like, okay, so that could be seen as masculine. And that's why I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's defending his woman. It's masculine. But it's like, nah, but like that's...
he took force and used it in a feminine way to over-emotionally react to a situation and make it bigger than what it needed to be.
Right. And I'm just saying that
a quality that that is more of a feminine thing to do.
Yeah, well, I agree with you that you see that more in... Like, you see more females acting like that than you see males acting like that. What I'm saying is that doesn't... I wouldn't call that a feminine trait because a lot of females do it. Like, the same way that...
But that's what's going to prison.
Yeah, but...
It's people who are raised by women.
Yeah, but I'm saying... I'm not excusing any of that. I'm not refuting any of that. I'm saying, like, the same way that it's not a racist policy that has a lot of black people who are poor in Southeast DC. It's just, it happens to be because, like, in the past and the echoes of those policies, and like this is what it is now. But it doesn't mean that anybody or the system itself is racist. It just means that there's more black people who are poor than not. So it's not. So it's the same way that there's more women that are insecure than not. So it doesn't mean that insecurity is inherently feminine.
Your behaviors are based off of your environments.
Right.
And who you are and how you act.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Environments and who you are, who you act, that's not inherently feminine. You're not like born with a vagina.
Well, then you insert a man into this situation and everything clears up.
Well, like in a productive way, because if you insert a man and he happens to be a weak man, he doesn't know how to take care of business or handle the household.
But the existence of him improves everything like astoundingly.
Yeah, but
just his presence alone.
Well, what if you have like a man who's like who's
No, you're like 3
talking,
times more likely to go to
overly
jail
emotional.
if you're raised by a single mom.
Yeah, but
Or like 5 times.
But I don't think that's something that's like inherently because women are inferior. I think it's because the women who happen to be in those situations.
Who said?
Oh no! I didn't say that you said it. I didn't say that you said it. I'm saying in general. I don't think
I
that.
didn't say
No. Okay, we'll put that in context. I'm not saying that. You
Take
said
your
it.
view debating tactics and get away from me.
No, my bad, bro. I didn't mean it like that.
Rosie O'Donnell.
I mean, like the statistic. Like people might look at that statistic and draw the conclusion that women are inherently ill-suited in order to parent children.
Men.
Yeah, parent men.
Boys. Yeah.
But yeah. But I think it's those kind of women or women who find themselves in those situations in a large part are very insecure, and because of that environment.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't see.
Because you have to understand how men think in order to raise a boy properly.
No, I agree with that.
So that doesn't mean you're insecure if you don't understand the inner workings of how a man works.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I think most women who are in that situation who produce the kind of guys you see over here acting overly emotional, it's not because they don't. I think it's more so about them being insecure.
They don't have a
not
leadership
knowing how
person that's empowered that can then dictate where the relationship goes.
Right, but
which would be the man.
But a strong woman would know how to point them in the right direction and be able to find substitutes.
But we've yet to see that.
No, I see it all the time. Like I have a friend who I went to school with who was like.
But wouldn't that be considered anecdotal?
It would be, but like I don't know the majority.
I would say the numbers dictate. Otherwise,
yeah, the numbers dictate otherwise. But the numbers I think are indicative of the relationship between insecure women raising boys as opposed to women in general raising boys.
But that's just a blanket statement.
But that
every bad single mom is just insecure.
It is. I'm not saying that every bad single mom is insecure. I'm saying that
it could be not being able to have time management.
No, that's very true.
So
but
that doesn't mean they're insecure. It just means they're not able to actually be there.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that happens all the time too. But it's like Immortal Technique talks about that. Or his mom had to work all these kind of jobs. Or no, I might be thinking about someone else because his dad was male too.
Jesus,
he was just in the military. Well, yeah, but I think it's also a blanket statement to say.
I feel like we're not being very productive.
I think it is.
No, I'm like losing where we're going. That's what I mean.
In general, I'm just trying to say that this is not a symbol of feminine behavior. I think that this is a symbol of insecure behavior. Like, it makes more sense to me that it's not...
Yeah, but my point is that men who are insecure and women who are insecure do things differently.
Okay.
That are predicated off of that gender.
Okay.
That's my point.
So
that's why people say it's like feminine behavior.
Do you think that?
Because if you were with if you're with an insecure, like if you like single, I guess it really doesn't matter if it's single parent or not. But like if your dad is like an insecure person, he's either one, not like raising you at all, or two, he's overcompensating things. And he's being abusive.
Yeah, but that's my point.
So now you're being beaten down. And you either are coming out of that being very angry and then bullying other people.
100%. And that's why I think
bullying other people. You're not like turning around necessarily and like robbing a bank.
No, 100%. But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what Will's doing right here. He's insecure about who he is or like his relationship status with this woman. So he becomes a bully, becomes physically abusive to The Rock because he doesn't want to hit Jada because he knows.
Don't say The Rock because it's not
I'm sorry, Chris Rock. But like he doesn't want to be abusive to his wife because he understands that's wrong.
That was him.
So I think that he's lashing out abusively, physically, because he doesn't know how to put it any other way because he's insecure about who he is. So he goes up and slaps The Rock.
Yeah, that would be
Chris Rock shit.
But that's an over emotional response.
Yeah, but like so was her. She had an over emotional response.
That's a feminine.
She was like. But like women wouldn't go up and slap somebody. Or like
they do.
Well, like
They slap men all the time.
no, but what I'm
See,
saying,
the point is, men understand physical consequences.
yeah, but what I'm
He
thinking is,
reacted
like,
100% emotionally, which
Yeah,
is
I'm not-
feminine behavior. It's not
No, no,
weak masculine
but
behavior.
But you said that overly sensitive or insecure men and insecure women act differently. So, when I see that Jada was insecure because she was over there rolling her eyes, it was a slight joke.
No, she wasn't insecure. She's just in her feelings.
I think that's insecure because if you're secure, if you felt secure, like that joke wouldn't bother you.
No, being insecure, there's reasons to be insecure. You were bullied your entire life viciously, and everybody shits on you, and you were raped 8 times.
Yeah,
I'm insecure.
But you could be insecure
She's
for other
a
reasons
cunt.
too. No, wait, I won't argue that. What I'm saying is you could be insecure for other.
Like,
you could be insecure for non-valid reasons also. You could just, I think everybody's laughing at me.
Yeah,
then you could be insecure in that way. You could not have any of that real trauma, but you can imagine
insecure
it.
encompasses too much.
But it encompasses the whole plethora from somebody who imagines slights to somebody who went through some real shit.
My point is, someone could be insecure and be like raped and just be like a timid person who doesn't take many risks and just tries to stay to themselves.
Right, but it could also
and then you can also be insecure and be a manipulative piece of shit.
Right.
And like form a cult and have everybody murder and rape each other to death.
Or be bald and manipulate your husband to act on your
exactly.
honor.
So
Jada is insecure.
Yeah, but the only reason why Will did what he did is because of women.
But I think he did what he did also because he's insecure. Because if he was if either of them were secure, they would
Stop saying insecure.
Why? I think that's appropriate because the same way it's like, okay, so Jada was insecure because if she was secure, she wouldn't be fazed by someone making a joke. So she was in her feelings because she's insecure.
It's a too simple a word though.
But that's what I'm saying. It is a simple word.
It's too simple because this is a complex thing.
Yeah, but I think one element of it is her being insecure.
This isn't DMX. Who, like went on stage and hit somebody. It's like, well, DMX is just insecure in his masculinity or something like that. Or like you could maybe make that point. This is like a growing buildup of like emotion and horse shit.
Yeah.
Like to just say he's insecure is.
I think it's one element of it. I think
it's far too simplistic.
I think it's a very big element of it because like if he like for example, let's say that there might be,
and also you're talking about Hollywood actors and actresses being
who are widely insecure. Who is not in Hollywood?
Yeah, but that doesn't then apply to their actions.
I think it does in this specific sense. I see it like because I couldn't imagine.
Inherently, they want to be accepted. Because that's why you go,
which is insecurity. Like you want to be accepted.
But if everybody's working on that framework, you then can't judge them based off that insecurity. Because why haven't other people like skull fucked Ricky Gervais on stage?
No.
Because they're grown adults and they're like, that would be looked good. That would be very that would be looked down. I cannot skull fuck Ricky Gervais on national television.
I think I see where our paths are diverging. I'm not saying that this is like he's doing these actions solely because he's insecure. I'm saying that him doing these actions is a manifestation of his insecurity. There's other things that contributed to him making the decisions that he did. But
so what I'm saying is insecure. It's too simplistic because like having like your entire open marriage being exposed is going to make people insecure. Yeah. So to say that the reason why he did that is because of his insecurities. Well, that would make anybody insecure, but 99% of people aren't physically assaulting somebody. So that's not a reason why that happened at all. Like, it can't be.
Well, no, but it can. Like, it can contribute to it. Like, it's like, I did this because...
People feel insecure all the time.
Yeah,
They feel embarrassed. They don't then punch somebody in the face.
Right, but it's like the same way people feel depressed all the time, but not everybody who's ever felt depressed cuts themselves. Yeah. So, like, the same way, it's like,
because there's other issues at play that factor into why that happened.
100%.
So why even talk about insecurity?
But that's like why if someone commits suicide, why talk about depression? They have suicide hotlines where they talk about depression to try to mitigate the amount of suicides. So, like, we don't want that to happen.
That would have to be the root of what it is.
Yeah, but that is...
Some people kill themselves because they're just weak.
Yeah, but they're
just weak and they want mommy and daddy to look at them more.
Yeah, but they don't
and then they kill themselves. Like, it's not really depression. It's just their inability to grow as a person and communicate.
Yeah, but in the hotlines, like say like the suicide watch list, they're not. Well, they're not like, hey,
No, it just sounded funny. Like I thought of like the no fly list.
Oh,
like it's a
yep, Betty.
It's a list of people.
Yeah. Ooh, oh, I know you.
April's gonna be a tough month.
And a tough girl. It's like that. But then like it's so people like are don't have like hotlines set up where it's like, hey, oh, are you weak? Call this hotline. They're like, oh, are you feeling depressed? You know, somebody like call this one.
But that's my
So
point.
that's
It's a generic term that
doesn't
help you get to find out what.
No, but it's a generic term. But it also it's the way that they identify. It's one of the root causes that they identify as one of the main causes of suicide.
Okay,
so
but
like
are we trying to talk about why he did what he did, or are we just?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to get an approval from you. They're like wavering, like, you know, some element of insecurity is the reason as to that contributes into why he did what he did, or I should say, why do you think he did what he did, outside of insecurity?
Okay, what I'm saying is the baseline is insecurity, but
okay,
I don't like. This isn't you. This is just in general. I don't like hearing.
I won't be triggered.
Simple terms like that because it's so many more different elements that are at play as to why he decided to then go up on stage and hit Chris Rock, and then on top of that, like scream on the top of his lungs about it. There's so many more things that are in it that to say like, oh, it's his insecurities. Because there's so much more behind the method of thinking, where it's like, this is the time and place for me to do this.
Yeah. No,
because that's not based off insecurity. That's based off of some other bullshit. Like,
okay. So what kind of like do you think it was like?
He could have just been fed up with everybody talking shit about him and was like, today's the day.
Oh, so you think it was like more calculated? Like it was just like.
No, not calculated. Just he's just like, I need to do something.
Yeah, to
shut everybody the fuck up.
Yeah, but then like that, but that's like if you were secure enough to be like the way that like if my kids were being bullied by someone in school and they're just like, oh, so and so called me stupid. I was like, oh, he called you stupid? Like, yeah, are you stupid? Like, no. I was like, well, why are you getting mad? That's stupid. So it's like I want him to be secure. So it's like I know, and like it go further. It's like, you know, like people are gonna say some shit, and you're gonna get upset. You're good. People are gonna say shit. You're gonna get upset, and it's gonna be fucked up, and you're gonna want to do something about it. But you don't want to act on that, because when you act on that, then it's like then you're showing your enemies, the people who want to hurt you, that like, oh, I got. But if he then hits I'm gonna fuck with you more, and then you're showing your friends like, oh, that hurt him, and then your friends are gonna feel sorry for you, and your enemies are gonna use that and exploit it. So it's like you're just putting yourself in a more precarious situation by acting out on the things that you want to do something about.
Good word, precarious.
Did I say that? That sounded smart.
You said you'll find yourself in a more precarious situation.
Oh shit! Professor in the full effect, yeah. But it's
you should take out your dreads and blow your hair out.
Yeah. My brother. Like that wasn't. He didn't have dreads. But yeah. But it's like you don't want to act on that. So I want him to be. I had this conversation for him to feel more secure in himself, feel secure in the fact that you know that you're intelligent, so that when someone calls you stupid, you're just like, okay, maybe, and you won't let it affect you.
Uh-huh.
So it's like the way that I see him, it's like, oh, if he's tired of other people talking about him, it's like, all right, well, first of all, this isn't 6th grade. And it's like, you're a grown person with kids. I was like, you shouldn't be paying attention to what any of these kids are saying, or anybody online saying. Fuck all of them. I was like, it doesn't matter. They're like, they're still buying your shit. I was like, so you're good financially. But then on top of that, the people you care about, that's who you should care about, how they feel about you, what they think about you. And if that's toxic right there, then fuck them too. Get away from them. You shouldn't be around people like that. So like the fact that he didn't go through those hoops is like, oh, like it shows, like he gets to he's trying to act.
That's my point.
Like he's
is
secure.
That there's so much more to it than just.
Well, I simplified insecurity because that's what, like, I identify that's just like that can be boiled down to these guys are bullying you and you want to do something, you act on it. So it's like, oh, like you're insecure in yourself of who you are, and you get your identity largely from what other people attribute to you, not necessarily what you think of yourself. It's a self-fulfilling, like what they think of you makes you think about yourself in a certain kind of way, as opposed to the other way around. You think about yourself this way and you force them to do this, or if you don't, then fuck them. They don't, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can't make everyone happy, but you make enough people happy that you've been able to live a successful career out of it, support for your family and your kids, and have a house, and still go on and to further greatness and possibly earn an Oscars, and boom, oh, you got it. Wow. So it's like that, it just showcased him acting out when he's like, maybe it's like, oh, people are bashing on him and he's fed up with that shit. It's like, that's him acting on the fact that he's insecure. Not that because he's insecure he did this, but he's so insecure and he wants to do something about it and he doesn't know what to do. So he finds Chris Rock's face and slaps it. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm sure there's other elements like, oh, his relationship to his wife. And, like her being upset because, like you said, he was laughing at the joke. He was fine with it at first. Maybe it wasn't so much about how he feels, but how he's afraid how she feels. And instead of, like, having a solid conversation with her, instead of addressing it like, behind closed doors, instead of going up there and pulling a real boss move, instead of snapping back with a joke of his own, like, like, instead of doing any of that, he was so afraid of how she felt. So he decided to act on that based off what her insecurities might have been. So maybe it's something like that. But for me, I think it boils down to insecurities. Because it wasn't like he slapped him and it's like went back to see, like, all right, like be that cool scary move where he's just like, all right, chill out, Pookie. And smoking on like crack pipe a little too much. Like, oh shit. Like, oh, he could have just stayed at the seat and said that. But or he could have gone up and he just like taking that moment to talk about alopecia, if that's what he really wanted to worry about. Or he could have taken that moment to go up on stage. He's like, chill out, Chris. And then he's like, oh, this guy's funny. He's like, but I want to take this moment to kind of address some things. Like, I know a lot of people, in this industry, you have to get used to getting beaten down a lot and people making fun of you, da-da-da. But, and he's like, I want to take this moment to defend my wife right here. She didn't appreciate that. She's a strong woman. And she doesn't need to be associated with G.I. Jane to identify herself as a strong woman. So just recognize that's who my wife is.
That would be worse.
You think so? I don't think so.
I would hate that.
Yeah, it would have been like, oh, he's pandering.
That would be so gross.
Corny. But it would have been like, I don't think that would have been worse. Because I could be like, this corny motherfucker. But I could be proud of who he is and what he did in order to, for the sake of himself and his wife and his family. Him smacking Chris Rock, I'm not proud of that. I'm not happy with that. I don't approve of that. It makes him look weak. It makes him look like a bitch. Like, you're so insecure. What somebody else is saying affects you to the point that you feel like you gotta lash out like that. Like, you're like a little kid at a candy store who can't get that third, like, Twizzler. Like, you're like, wah! Start convulsing on the ground. Like, yo, like, who does this? You get your ass whooped in public.
Do not condone the beating of children.
Beat your kids.
Beat the shit. No, spankings. but
what you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Yeah, but spankings are legal. I looked it up. It can't beat your kid like closed fist. Open hand slap to the face is okay. It's like
after we just talked about how Will Smith
how it's not okay, everything but okay. I'm condoning it.
You're very insecure.
Yeah. Shut up, James. No, but I use it as a last resort. I could count on my fingers how many times I had to spank my kids.
That's okay. We don't need to get into that.
No, I'll tell you. This one time on the bus, but
I gathered everybody around and they watched.
yeah, it was a reflex. I wasn't thinking about it. He threw one of those. I was like, ooh. Different story. Instinctively, just whap. It's Will Smith. And I told him, I was like, keep my wife's name out your... No, he was just throwing a fit. He was a little kid, and he didn't understand. He was in the handicap section. He had to stand up. Mom's pregnant. How come you get to sit down? I don't. Oh, this is what it is. I'm pregnant. You got to watch out. More people coming on the bus. Someone might be handicapped. Older ladies coming on. He's on the bus, getting pissed off.
One thing leads to another.
Yeah, and then the spanking happens.
Not the spanking.
But that's in like an extreme case. Because it's just like, oh, like this is like, you thought that was okay? Like I have to respond to that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if it was just like, oh, I don't like this, I could sit down and talk to you. Like, I don't care what you like. This is what you're going to do. Boom. And then we can have a conversation about how he feels about it. We grow. We move forward. He understands. Or next time it's like, okay, nobody's on the bus. The bus is empty. Guess what? You have to stand now for until you understand the lesson and understand like the respect that you have to give to older people. Like, you're going to stand on the bus forever now.
Especially your mom.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But the spank should be last resort. So I mean, if he was there and he's just like, haha, that bald lady looks like G.I. Jane, I wouldn't have spanked him. I would explain to him she might have alopecia.
Oh my
God. Oh man, that's a little heavy.
Well, at this point, who cares?
They're in peace talks now. They're like,
yeah, because they haven't been able to fucking beat him.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. He pulled a power move. He pulled what Will Smith wishes he pulled, the power move. He was just like, phase 1 is complete. We've been successful. Now we will move on to phase 2 of the operation in Ukraine. And now they're talking about peace. Like, we'll focus on the eastern part now. It's like, well, you know. Like, all right, that's cool. Like, Will Smith's like, all right, this is why I boycotted the... Well, he could have done anything but smack Chris Rock in the face. He could have expressed himself. He could have walked out. He could have, so many things.
Do anything other than what he did?
Anything.
Or maybe not anything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Him reviewing himself, exposing himself on TV probably wouldn't have gone well.
I don't think, but that's strength. That's what I see as strength, because it's like, oh, like you're so strong that it's like, you're just like, try it again. It's just like, that's it. Like the dude who's just like, who gets mad and like, okay, someone says something, it's like, on purpose to try to rile you up. And then the person gets riled, and then you get riled up. You're like, oh, this motherfucker, da, da, da. You're just like, all right, you're just responding. You're playing his game. You're not strong enough to not play his game. But if you're just like, someone riles you up, and then you're just like, oh, look at this little buck-toothed bitch over trying to talk some shit. It's like, oh, you know what's funny? I had to think about this. She was in the, what is it called? That movie with Eddie Murphy, right? The Nutty Professor.
Janet Jackson?
No. That was Jada. Jada Pinkett Smith was the girl who was talking to the professor. Yeah, I remember.
Oh no, you're right. It was Jada. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
She was just very young.
Yeah, I was. I know. I used to confuse Jada and Jada a lot though. Because I thought that Jada was with was in that movie Poetic Justice with Tupac. I was like, oh, that's where they had a thing going on. But I was like, no, that was Janet Jackson. I was like, oh yeah. But let me about later before I talk shit. Yeah, Jada. Yeah. Dave Chappelle was So I remember when she was there in the comedy club with the professor. Eddie Murphy's character and Dave Chappelle's character was like talking shit. And like, you so fat, da, da, da. And then like the professor's kind of there like all sad because they're talking about his weight. He's like, oh, and Jada's just kind of there just like, oh, like sad and like, oh, I'm so sorry. That guy was terrible. And then like she goes back with Eddie Murphy's other half after he loses the weight, Buddy. And then Buddy's over there like talking shit. He's like, and then he goes on stage. I think he ends up slapping him. No, I think he beats the shit out of him. He does something. I remember he throws him in the piano. And then, and she was so happy at that. It's just like, maybe Will's just reenacting. Like, whatever.
It was an homage to the Nutty Professor.
Yeah. Oh, what? Yo, that would have been some boss shit. Like, it would have still been fucked up. But what if Will Smith went up and slapped Chris Rock and he said, Eddie Murphy, this is for you? Oh my God. Then I would have been like, that's a fucking skit. There's no way. Oh shit. That's funny. Oh, you know what? Cause when Chris Rock was like kind of rocked at the no pun. But he was like he's like, oh, it's documentary, stunned. He was like, he started misspeaking, but then he said, he tried to gather himself, and he's like, keep my wife's name. He's like, oh, wow. He's just like, that was the greatest moment in
television?
Yeah, but I think he was, I don't know if that might have been a weird coincidence, but I think, because Will Smith said something like that.
Richard Williams is a dreamer like no one you've ever known. He has a power of belief that borders on insanity and sometimes tips over the border, which is absolutely necessary to take something from impossible to possible.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
But you guys are actors, so you know how sometimes your on-screen characters kind of bleed into real life.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Venus, Serena, the Williams family, you entrusted me and our group with your story. You didn't agree to put your name on it till you saw the final project. I agree. I get that. You know, it's cool. That's real. That's real because we be messing stuff up sometimes.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Thank you all. That may have been one of the greatest moments.
Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
He probably wanted to say something and then just saw like the state that Will was in. It was just
wow,
like,
dude.
Let's just move on.
But he looked like a man.
I want to hear his response.
He
hasn't said anything.
No, but he just he had to stand up ticket.
I saw that where he said he's gonna
talk about
this
process. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh wow. But like they said that they were like the crowd was like applauding him, like for like just cheering for him for like 10, 15 minutes, and like he started getting a little like weepy. He was just like, wow, guys, like it was after all this happened. He was just like, I appreciate that love, because like, yeah, man. It's good to see like good behavior being rewarded and bad behavior being, well, it's good to see good behavior rewarded. I don't know if anybody's really bashing on Will.
They are. Everybody is.
I've seen a couple of memes, so yeah, maybe it's some people sent me some stuff where it's like,
I like you can ask Jada for head, but don't make fun of her head.
I saw this one with Jesse Smollett. He was like, yeah, Will hit me too.
Not justice.
Oh man.
Tom Segura was like, I told you was going on some rants. Just landed in NYC, you dusty bald-headed bitches.
Yo.
See you at the shows with a fire surprise.
Oh my god. Oh
wow. The bitch been bald. Jokes about it or her are fine. It was tame as fuck. You super sensitive about it, question mark. Buy a fucking wig. And it's a bunch of pictures of her throughout her life where she had a bald head.
She's always had short hair, like never longer than shoulder length, man. Yeah, but this is the thing, like G.I. Jane.
Fuck Will Smith's candy ass smacking a dude 4 inches shorter, 50 pounds lighter. He's just in his feelings because he's bald-headed bitch been fucking around on him for years, and he takes it. We all know who wishes he could slap.
Ooh.
Hashtag cuck Will.
Wow. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Yo, Chris Rock has brought more attention to alopecia than Shane ever did. I was like,
oh, that's funny. I like that. Shit. That's a good one.
Man. And he's just over here, keep my wife's name out your mouth. It's like, if there was anything you wanted to do, if you ever wanted people to stop talking about your wife, this wasn't it. The internet like exploded. They're like, oh yeah, there's a genocide in Yemen. They're like, yeah. The war in Ukraine is like they're coming to the negotiating table and we don't. Yeah. This kid just got raped on the street corner. Yeah. Wow, shift gears.
The memes were crazy.
Someone was saying like maybe it was like a personal thing, like they have a personal problem with Chris Rock. Because at the 2016 Oscars, he was hosting it, and he was saying how he's like, oh, Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
like,
not invited.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, but it was like, oh yeah, he's been snapping at her for a while. I'm just like,
that's his only joke.
Yeah, I was like, that's it. I was like. After that,
was in the news because she said that she was boycotting the Oscars.
Yeah,
because like there wasn't enough black people being nominated.
Right, and then the thing is like,
see, I don't understand that. Look, we can get into this if you want.
Yeah. Why
are you so obsessed with white institutions honoring you?
Right, and because every show you popped up 6 years later, couldn't be that bad. It's like you needed. That goes with the whole.
I'm gonna boycott this white institution.
Yeah, and until they validate who I am, and see that goes with the whole insecurity.
Because you can validate your own awards
if you were secure. I'm just trying to swing in that word. I mean, but like, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about like if the BET could be that, but like you could have your own vision and be like, oh well, you know, I'm gonna support these type of movies.
100%.
Or like, TV shows or whatever.
Yeah. And I don't know what they spend their money on, but I'm sure that they have something in the bank to be able to
it's all
start
Hollywood.
Hosting.
They're all doing their own thing and making money.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is like, it's not like they can't like rent out a pool hall and fucking throw some award show and then like it starts small like that and start building it up like, okay, well let's have
do that because they want to make the money.
Yeah. I see. They want to be part of the institution.
Yeah.
So. But you know what's funny? Because
it's just like those people that I mean I don't know off the top of my head, but you know there are dudes who like are in like action movies where they always are shooting guns and killing people, but then they're like anti-guns. So like, oh, you shouldn't own a gun. It's like but you like
you're promoting it. Like you stop being Cardi B. Like,
not even promoting it. Like you are a multi-millionaire because
of it. Oh yeah. That's worse. Yeah, it's like Cardi B doesn't let her kids listen to her music. It's like, why are you putting it out? Or like the hypocrisy is real. It's on the whole.
Oh, well, at least she's stated it.
Yeah, that's true.
That might encourage people to be like, well, she doesn't let her own kids listen to it. Maybe I shouldn't let mine.
Stupid. Yeah. Oh man, but
I was really mad when I heard that.
But it's crazy because then I listened to the whole the monologue that he gave, and he bashed Hollywood way worse than he bashed Jada. Chris Rock. He even.
Oh no, I was talking about the Cardi B.
What about Cardi B?
When she said like, "Oh, I don't let my kids listen to my shit."
Right.
I was so mad.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh, props." Yeah. I wanted to fucking hate her, so I was like, "Bitch."
I think it's stupid. I'm actively because it's like if I
well, you can make content and then not let your kids watch it. Like if you do a lot of R-rated movies that has a lot of vulgar and violence.
That's fair.
So she's like, I'm making my music the way I want to make it, but I don't think it's appropriate for my kids to listen to.
Wow.
So that's why I was really angry. I was like, that was a mature decision.
I didn't think it out that way.
Now, music's a little different because of how they market it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you can have those warnings, but at the end of the day, we all know it's like it's being marketed like 15 to 35 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's in high schools.
I can't hit on Cardi B. Yeah, you're right. I'm just like
that's why I was really angry. I was like,
yeah, because it's not like she's the one pushing it down kids' throats.
You made a responsible decision.
Yeah. Wow.
As a parent.
Wow, that's profound. Holy shit. Respect.
It's very upset.
Damn your intelligence.
Damn your good decision making.
If only she just kept my wife's name out of her fucking mouth.
I want this to be like a trend. I want him to.
I've started to say this is how I say hi to people now. Like my brother's birthday next weekend. Yeah, I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, I just want to check in on you because I heard you talking shit. I heard you kept using my wife's name, and I just called you to let you know. Like, all right, man, hey, what's up? All right, see you later. And remember, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I wanted to crash. I want him to constantly be blowing up and yelling at people. Jesus, I got gas.
Oh man.
I want it to be a trend. I want it to be like the Britney Spears.
Oh boy.
When she was shaving her head and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's not, it's approaching that level. If it's not going to be there, this isn't going to go away. This is going to be a running joke for a long time.
He might be all right though.
He might be, but I hope he is. I hope he gets help and works on his insecurities and all that shit because this is wild.
Well, he announced he's going into therapy, but who knows what that means?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't strike me as I don't know. I can't say that. I was gonna say he doesn't he wouldn't say something and then not do it, but it's like he wouldn't be less than honest. But then again, he's done that a few times. So never. I was like, I can't say that. Never mind.
He's typical Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or like old school Hollywood, where you're putting on a face all the time and no one knows what the fuck you are.
You know what? That's probably what it is. He's just not. He's not used to this level of exposure. He's probably like, if I say it on social media, I'll be able to control the narrative because that's what he's kind of used to.
But they already put all their business out there by doing those fucking table talks.
Yeah. I think he was doing it to try to get up in front because they're gonna say something anyway. Let me get out in front of it. But then also, he wasn't ready for people following
Well, him not apologizing to Chris made it exponentially worse.
That's what really.
And then using God and then
yeah. That's what. I was gonna. My simmer was fizzling out.
You need to control your insecurities.
Oh yeah. I'm super insecure because I hate one of the things that
the
obsesses
vessel
me
of
the
love.
most.
His speech was just weird as shit. And if he had said, I want to apologize to the Academy, my fellow whatever, and then he said especially Chris that was uncalled for. It's hopefully I can see you after this and I can
right and see.
And then if he did that, then everybody would just be like, "Oh wow, that was a crazy wild moment. That was wild," and we would all just laugh and been on with it. But instead, he was like,
"I still would be upset about it.
I'm not going to apologize."
Yeah, I was still upset. I would have still. I'll be honest. I'll still be.
But
upset
it'd be one of those things where you're like, "Yo, that was wild," and then
it would have. But this is. This is what I teach to my kids. It's when you fuck up, you have to try to make up for your mistake. You have to try to fix things. You have to try to make things better. You have to apologize for what you did, rectify the behavior. but for the future. But understand that in that moment, what you did, you broke it. Like, you fucked it up. Doesn't matter how well you put it together, the cracks in the shit is still gonna. I think there's a Chinese thing that proverb that's like that. Like, when the vase is broken, you glue it together with gold or something like that. Where it's like the cracks are highlighted. Like, it's there. You can't erase what you did. Like, you're rectifying your behavior here on out. You could be the perfect person. Those cracks in that vase still exist. That still happened. You can't pretend like that didn't happen. So I would have been more upset if people started, because he apologized, like, oh, pretend like it didn't happen. But I'll be happy that he asked for forgiveness and stuff like that. But what really pissed me off, like his whole acceptance speech was just like, I was super insecure. I was getting triggered. Every word.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking when I was hearing this that probably was a planned speech.
Yeah. Maybe,
or at least like,
maybe, but man, let me tell you. Holy shit,
hear
man.
me out for a second.
Okay,
Before you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because normally you gotta calm me down.
Yeah.
I'm pretty mellow.
My bad. All right.
No, I think that he had like, not like a planned speech, but like at least like an outline. With the King Richard, he's got his family. I got my family.
Yeah.
I think he's talked about God before. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
he's not
he
like
has.
He's not like a person that doesn't talk about God.
Right. But that's not what I'm upset about.
But I'm saying, I think because of that situation that happened, and then he's now like he won it, and then he's in the situation, and then he already had like you have to give your speech because you win.
Yeah.
And because he knew that he was like a front runner, he had like this thing in his head, and then he had to like piece together.
Okay, go ahead.
And he had to piece together like the little elements. It's like, oh yeah, just like Richard, like love can make you do crazy things. So he's trying to like work it all in, and just because of what he did, now it makes his speech look fucking like insane, batshit crazy. Which I think he might have already had that like speech kind of down, and then he had to kind of like just pull it all together at the end.
Okay. I'm okay with bumbling around, like trying to transition what happened and manifest it into. Yeah,
you could tell like he was kind of like
he was
where the fuck am I going?
Yeah, like the violence that he exhibited on stage was still present. Like it was like he was tearing them apart. So it's like
you could tell he's trying to piece it all together.
Yeah. So like, I'm happy that he was reflecting on it in that level. I know that I've heard him talk about God before, and like, but
using it as an excuse for violence was absurd.
Exactly. See, that's my thing. My thing is like the one of the things that I've like railed against, like every fiber of my being is like people being less than truthful, like being less than honest, and hiding behind these crutches, like, oh, I'm black, oh, because God got me.
I think he was just trying to pull it all together and like make the connections and justify
exactly
in the moment, because like he didn't have the opportunity to plan it out in his head.
He tried to justify him doing what he did. That was what was disgusting. I would have had way more respect for him. I would have had an infinite amount of respect for him if he had gone on stage. Because I'm trying to think, like, what could he have done? Said like this, I would still be fucked. I would still been upset. No. But
unless he would apologize. But outside of that,
if he went up on stage and he's like, thank you so much. I don't deserve this. My behavior was atrocious. Sorry for Chris Rock. Sorry for everybody. Can't accept this. This is something that the best actor leading up to this was this person. I'm happy. I want to give it to the film or whoever is responsible for the film in the backdrop, the director, the producer, whatever. Because it's like me myself, because of my behavior, because of what I did, I can't do this because I didn't exhibit myself appropriately. I didn't like King Richard was someone who defended his family, who did this, who believed in something impossible. I'm over here living an impossible life for someone in my situation, something like that, and just like bowed out gracefully and left the Oscars at that point. Infinitely, I would have had infinite respect for this man. He didn't do that. He did the opposite. What he did, he tried to justify him humiliating
Like,
Chris Rock on stage.
He was just trying to play like
fuck. Okay, like, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying? What was you trying to do?
You have great self-control. I know you well enough to know what's really going on. I think he was trying to play like, like 52 card pickup. Like he's just picking up pieces and like saying shit.
Yeah.
And then like obviously after the fact, it's like, yo, that was horrible.
Yeah, I know, right. But when
I'm trying to be a vessel of love.
Yeah. Okay. This fucker, man. I don't. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you. I bet that was his speech.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm not.
He had his speech. He had to go out there, and he had to fumble his way through it while keeping his speech down because.
But he could have still done that.
He already practiced it, so he's like, it's there.
The disgusting thing about what he did in the apology speech is that he tried to.
But I'm saying if you're trying to reiterate what you had already planned, and that just happened.
Right, but
it's not gonna fit right.
Yeah, but like this is what I mean by like a strong.
Because you're just saying things.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And
like,
I'm not against him saying. In fact,
all the bullshit he said, I don't think he was. It wasn't thought through. It wasn't like this is really gonna help. Like he was just like he was just saying things.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pick apart the semantics or how he said it, but it's just that the core element, the underlying tone and the theme of like what he was trying to say
and everything like that.
Fuck all that. I don't think so. I think he was trying to validate what the fuck he did. And that's because he could have made the same speech and like a strong man would have been able to be like, I fucked up, but here's the speech and touch on all those things without trying to validate himself. But he went up there
because he was trying to justify it because it
exactly. So fuck him. That's the most insecure, weak bitch, pussy, nigga shit that I've ever fucking seen in my life. And this guy was larger than life is doing that shit. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? That's what really pissed me off. I'm sorry. I was just like, I hope he addresses it. But I was like, that was the most bitch ass. And then you invoke.
No, but yeah, see, he had like 10 minutes.
I know, and he was talking for a good.
Yeah, you have to remember, like it was like best documentary, and then I think he was up. Like
but he had slapped him. There was an intermission.
He had
Denzel Washington talked to him.
No, but it was like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, Medea. Shit, man. I wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to promise. Tyler Perry came to talk to him.
The transvestite.
Like he had time to process it. He was talking to people about it.
You don't have time to process that shit. Because you have to remember, like, his mind's... I'll defend him a little bit on this, because his mind's racing, like, all over the place. Like, what am I supposed to do?
But, he, like, my...
Because you already fucked up.
Okay, but you fucked up. Instead of justifying it, admit that you fucked up. Fess up. Don't be a bitch. Don't try to cow out of it.
But there's so much at play. His career, and there's other things, like...
Exactly.
But you're not thinking... about it, man. If you're
maybe I'm not. I'm not in that. I'm not in that space. I'm not. I don't understand. It's outside of my world.
Because you wouldn't hit somebody.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Especially not for some shit like that.
So you know that if you accidentally did, you'd be like, "Oh shit,
yeah,
my bad."
Yeah, but then that's what exactly. Oh shit, my bad. There's nothing in that speech that was like, "Oh shit, my bad."
That's what I'm telling you. This is where me critiquing the insecurity thing arises, because there's so many other things at play that are going on in his head.
Okay.
So I don't know.
That. I don't know what else could be going on in his head.
But people do that all the time.
Yeah.
They get in trouble, and then they're like, all right, like, what do I do to salvage this situation?
Yeah,
and the immediate. Now, if you gave that same person like 3 days to respond, they're gonna be like, like, gotta do this. Like, you start planning it out and thinking all of it through and what are the different avenues. If you've got 5 minutes and you got to go up there and potentially give a speech, you're not thinking, like, what's the best way? Like, you're just like, well, God, I just did that. I got to figure out how I justify doing that. That's nuts. Why did I do that?
But that's bitch ass behavior. Like instead of like because like anybody who I've ever cared about, if I ever cross the line, like my immediate go to was
like
like,
industry
oh
thing,
my bad.
This is an industry thing. But
it's
the industry mindset. Like he didn't do this at like a cookout. Like he did.
Yeah, so I'm attacking that kind of mindset. The fact that he felt the need, and then instead of
because everybody's doing that.
Yeah,
like,
Matthew so fuck everybody.
Like we've talked
fuck
about,
him then if he does that shit.
No, but I'm not saying he would hit. But I'm saying if he
no, not that. But if he
fucked
justifies
up in some way, he's no. You're mad at how he did it. Of what I'm saying, anybody that's most people in any type of industry like that, where it's like all about your image.
Yeah.
You're playing damage control. You're not necessarily doing what's the best thing to necessarily do.
This is my thing. When you play damage control, and maybe
I'm
it's
just gonna
like
go back and I need to reflect on myself, right? Because
it's fine. Go do that.
But it's bullshit.
Yeah, I know. So
I'm saying that's the statement he gave like 2 days later.
Yeah.
He gave the measured, correct response with every.
But I didn't like that.
Every box, but that's what everybody does. That's my point.
I know, but I don't like. I think that's what's fundamentally
like you like to party and you have a good time and you drink and sometimes you're gonna fuck up because you're in this kind of type of limelight and you've got all these people looking at you. What happens? I just need to go back and I reflect on what I've done. But you're still gonna keep partying.
But admit that mistake, like the spirit.
But it's bullshit because they're not really sorry. They're just like, I'm partying. This is what happens when you party. I don't even really need to apologize, but I have to apologize.
I would respect that person infinitely more than the person who's bullshitting.
Because that person had measured time and has a lawyer and a publicist, and they got
but I'm saying
statement out.
I'm saying I would respect because I don't. This is statement. I don't even like fuck that. Like
that's my point. Is that you have to look at what Will Smith's head is at. Is because he's constant. Or I'm not saying he's constantly because I don't know him personally, but like he's spending so much time for years to appease other people and get them to like him because you need you're trying out for that role. Or because they like you, they're like, hey, this is a great movie. It looks like a blockbuster. We can get Will Smith. Let's ask Will Smith and send him the script. So it's based off that. So his mindset isn't like, it's how do I rectify and fix this? Because that's the first thing that's coming in that moment.
Yeah.
Days later, he might actually really feel bad and be like, man, I shouldn't have hit Chris. That's fucked up. But within 10 minutes, he's like, fuck, that just happened. What's going on? I think I'm going to win this thing. I have to give a speech. What do I say? And then Denzel's like, hey, you can just calm down, man. Because some people were talking shit about them, and I was like, in that moment, I could understand it if you were like, hey, like.
If you see somebody do some wild shit, like, yo, nigga, you're like, yo, relax. Like, you're not going to make a judgment right then and there on what they did. They're already, like, if you.
Because I think Schultz was saying that. Didn't he?
Oh, did he? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I'm not.
People were saying like, yo, like what the fuck, like.
I'm not gonna judge somebody who goes like you see somebody do something fucked
especially
up.
Especially if they know the dude.
Person. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody has a friend who.
Denzel knows Will Smith. They've been in Hollywood forever.
Right.
Decades.
So it's just like, hey, like here's some piece of advice. Pick yourself up. Come on, let's do this. But it's not like my what.
That's
I'm
my point.
About,
is that the whole thing was like get through this.
Right. I don't like the knee jerk reaction. Like I'm.
What do you expect him to do?
That's why I give him to be a man.
No,
I expect him to be a man because that's who he was to me my entire life. So I expect.
Yeah, but you're putting him too much on a pedestal.
Right. Which is what I want my kids against because I was just like, oh, this is what I did and this is what this guy did. 30 years later, oh, whoopsies.
But what I'm saying in that moment with everything that was happening and for it being such a short period of fuck, where was it going?
You're talking about like in that moment he couldn't properly process what happened and he's trying
like a fight or flight, or like some people fight, some people run, some people just stand there and like so I'm saying that's why I'm not I thought the speech was just like, that's wow that like you think you're a vessel of love or whatever, but like I kind of thought it was funny and like crazy. Where I wasn't mad because I understood that there was so much happening at the time and so much going through his head that it's kind of unfair for me to expect him to have a real response.
But this is
based off of the whole scenario and what just happened.
the way that I look at it, and maybe it's unfair for me to look at it because I'm not in that environment, and I don't know how he's
outside perspective.
is,
Like if me
right?
or you did something like that, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a trophy for something," and we would be like, or like at our job, we'd be like, "I'm sorry, like I don't know."
Yeah.
Because we're not in that mindset where we're like, we got to protect our image and we got to do this and this that, and the other.
And that's not something that I've been habituated into for decades.
Like we don't have like our podcast is big right now. So like if we
I can say whatever the fuck I want. It's like,
but if we had like if we had like a big advertiser that wasn't like censoring, but was like, hey, like, you know, like you guys are cool, like we like you, but like cunt's kind of a strong word. Like, but if we're getting like, I don't know what it would be, but if like some crazy number, like 30,000 a month, we're getting from these people, we would probably be like,
I find a substitute.
I don't have to say cunt because that's.
I'm not married to that cunt, but if it's like something like, for example, I remember when Linkin Park was approached by somebody, I don't know, they were talking about it at some point, and like someone had approached like, oh yeah, you guys sound real good, but yeah, Mike, maybe you shouldn't rap though, can you try doing that? And they're just like, what
this is what we want to do.
Yeah, this is the fundamental to who we are in our sound.
It's what makes us stand out.
Yeah. We don't want to change that aspect. If you're just like, hey, don't say what the fuck is wrong with me, say what the hell is wrong with me instead, like, maybe I'll do that. But you know what? I like fuck, so I'm gonna lean into that. Like, like maybe there's like those little.
Well, fuck, I think would be ridiculous.
Well, they have a song. What the fuck is wrong with me? Give it. Yeah. Well. Anyway. Yeah. Tell me what the fuck is wrong.
No,
yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, there would, like, if we were in a position where our livelihood was dependent on something, we're gonna be moving differently.
Right. But it's just like there's a fundamental core where I wouldn't move. Like where that's why
obviously
like, so
you're going to have your people are going to have different morals and everything like that. But I'm saying in general, if we were in a space where like we're not going to piss off YouTube.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are putting on the thing. That doesn't mean we can't critique it, because you can critique it, but we wouldn't be like
purposely trying to gun out.
Like I would never want to say like, oh, fuck YouTube, unless it was something like egregious.
Yeah.
There'd be no reason for me to go on YouTube. It's like
right. So
it provides me so much entertainment. I enjoy the content. I'm putting content out there on the platform. So
there's no lot of elements that are like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like I'd be like, oh, they did this.
We're not going to say that YouTube is the worst platform to put content on.
Exactly.
While trying to put content on the platform.
Right, because it wouldn't be truthful. Because we would be benefiting from something.
But what if we did think that?
Well, like
it wouldn't benefit us to say it, even if we thought it.
Yeah, and see, but that's what I'm saying.
Just like in Hollywood, there's probably still producers that are doing shady shit.
Right.
But people know that's like, well, there's power involved. There's so much money at stake.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these guys actually are good at their job and do produce movies that do make money and make us all more money and gives us jobs and builds us careers. So, am I really gonna rock that boat when I could be making $150 million a year? I don't know.
No, I hear that, but I'm just saying at a fundamental level, at a moral level, and so like I'm trying to move away from like, okay, like maybe I don't understand this element of it. Maybe it's kind of like I don't live that lifestyle, but at a fundamental level, like during the headlights, fight or flight type of response, it's like I respect that, or I could pay more attention to that than I do the measured written out response that maybe you've never even, like you might have, your publicist was like, oh yeah, I wrote that up for you, I put it out. It's like, all right, cool. I approve. I looked it over. Oh, that's whatever. I don't care about that. I care about how people act like in the moment, in those dire moments. Because that, like, you shed all that bullshit away and, like, you showcase this is who you are. This is what you think. So, like, again, like, if he trips up over somewhere, it takes him a while to process what's going on, try to get it out in a certain kind of way.
It's such a crazy...
But the thing is, like, fundamentally, as a person, I thought he was somebody else. I thought he was more of a man than what he showcased to me at the Oscars. Because first of all, one thing that I'll say about him,
it could be like a deer in the headlights thing.
Yeah, but that's what
it could be like the fight or flight, and then he was just kind of like, I'm here and I'm kind of just gonna stumble through this.
Yeah, but that's what I like. I look at the fight or flight because that's who that person is. Like when someone's drunk, they're just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just drunk." It's like, no, your inhibitions are gone. That doesn't mean that the Courvoisier made you into an asshole. Like you chose, like this is who you are fundamentally. You got some real shit you got to figure out. So so Deer in the Headlights he has some real shit that he has to figure out.
Did you say Deer in the Headlights Will?
Yeah, Deer in the Headlights Will has some real shit he has to figure out because his knee jerk Deer in the Headlights fight or flight response was to validate what the fuck he did instead of just admitting no.
Because he's not thinking about what he just did. He may have been just thinking about this award, this speech. I finally got my Oscar. On top of that, I've got my career that I potentially have jeopardized, and then I have the Academy, and he's probably thinking oh shit, I did do that, but at the same time, there's so many other things that are at risk and at play,
right.
He probably legitimately thought about what this is going to look like with his family.
Right, but
so he's thinking about all these other things that are affecting him, and then he just didn't do it well.
I know, but the thing it's not that he didn't do it well. He didn't do
it was astronomically bad.
Yeah. He didn't do he didn't do what I thought he was capable of doing. So his
Well, remember when Kanye said George Bush doesn't care about black people?
Yeah.
You could make an argument that Michael Myers didn't handle that well.
No, but I'm not.
But at the same, but you get what I'm saying. What do you expect him to do in that situation?
Right.
Yeah, what if he said "Oh, totally."
Yeah.
I agree. Then you could just be people could attack him, but really it's just him in that situation going "Oh my God, what do I do?" And then his brain is just saying, well, just agree with them, and just if you agree with them, then people are more agreeable, and then they'll just stop, and then we can move on to something else. Oh yeah, definitely. And then you're oh, I should not have.
But
that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at it from that standpoint, where it's just.
Yeah, but his knee jerk reaction was to agree with him because he wanted to I hear he wanted to get behind.
Because his reaction was just kind of okay, so we're going back to you.
Yeah, because he didn't want to put him on the spot. He didn't want to shut him down, but at the same time, he didn't want to validate him. So it's I get that kind of in the spotlight. People could hyperanalyze that, but I'm talking about what Will did when he was up there. The whole time he was up there, he tried to validate all of his actions.
I get it, but what I'm saying is we don't know actually what was going through his mind and why he was doing and saying the things that he was saying.
I think catching someone,
regardless of how bad it is,
that's very true. It's very true. But I'm saying catching somebody in that deer of headlights moment, that's the closest that you can. I think it's the closest that you could possibly get to gaining insight into who they actually are, what they actually think. We don't know 100%, and there could be a whole lot of other factors going on.
But this ties into the whole classic Hollywood mindset.
Yeah, and
where you're constantly trying to present an image to people.
Yeah,
and that's what I think he was doing. He was just presenting this. Then he laughed it off I was harnessing Richard, protecting my family. So I
thought that was so disgusting because I'll say this. I'm trying to.
But you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. I get it. I get what you're saying.
I think of what he was doing was all surface level and just reactionary, trying to save face in light of the situation that just happened.
I know, but
you're kind of I really wish you.
I thought he was stronger than that. I thought he was stronger than that Hollywood mindset. Is what I'm saying. But because
he hasn't displayed
already
much else other than that.
Right. I was blind to it. I had this idea in my head.
Oh, you liked him too much as Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I think I liked him too much as Fresh Prince. I saw him
because he always was the black guy who was smiling and doing.
He was clever. He was smart. He was witty. He was cool. He had his own style.
That was an image.
Yeah, see, and I attributed it to him. That's who he was to me. So it's and then every role that he's taken, he made it himself. Aladdin, he made I was afraid the genie. I don't know about this, but he made the genie.
It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Way better. I was very impressed. I'm not gonna lie at all. But I really love the original. I really love because that was the cartoon and what's his face playing Genie. I was just yo, this is Genie. I was nobody.
It just looked weird.
Yeah. Well,
there's some of those scenes that looked weird.
I had a fear that Will Smith was going to try to too much to be that Genie as opposed to being his own version of Genie. Mm-hmm. And so when he owned that role, I was oh yeah, this is Will Smith. This is what he does. Oh, musical? This guy, he makes soundtracks to all his movies. I was like, yeah, this guy got it. So I thought that on a fundamental level that this is who he was. And I mean, I'll say the positive part that I'll say is like some people don't even apologize when they mess up. So I mean, I'll give him that level of applause because that is something that I could admire. But I had him on such a pedestal, and maybe it's largely more my fault than his. But it's like I had him on a pedestal. I expected way more.
You're more hurt by the actions, whereas like I was kind of like, I'd kind of been over Will Smith.
Okay, yeah, and I have
in the last few years, like I'm obviously not an idiot. Like
right, I know.
There's plenty of movies
that
he's done that I think are great and I like.
Yeah.
Like I make fun of Independence Day, but that's still a fucking badass movie.
Yeah,
so like it's not like he needs to be in it because if he's not, then it's not the movie that it is.
Yeah, the second one was kind of flimsy. But 100%. Like so, like I'll give him applause where it's due. But it's just I had this image in my head that he would be willing. He would be able to not only address it. I was hoping he would address it, which he did, and he apologized to.
Well, he's probably going to get interviewed by somebody and
that come out later.
Apology.
Yeah, but it's just I wish but I don't know how genuine that would be because he might just be responding to everything that happened. Yeah, but I'm saying
he's that's
why I was really looking to see what he would do in that Deer of Headlights moment because I was like, oh, this is at the crux of who he is, and so I'm just disappointed because no matter what happens after this.
I mean, there were people that gave the standing ovation to Roman Polanski when he won the best director. I'm not saying that Will Smith would stand up and clap, but like there were people that were like, "Oh, we have to celebrate the arts," like because they're not people.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
At least like how we see them, they're not people. Like behind closed doors, they're their own person with their own.
But the version of them that you see on the screen when they're like supposedly
when they're being interviewed and everything
is not really.
It's not who they are. That's why there'll be like like the Christian Bale thing where like he flipped out on that guy with the boom mic or whatever the fuck.
Oh.
Or when they were doing Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
And he just like unloaded and just kept like saying fucking idiot or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Because he's like I'm acting. And then you just disrupt this, you motherfucker. And then, but then you see him in interviews, and he's doing oh hey, happy to be here. Because he's putting on a face. Yeah. Not saying that that's what he's like in his home life, but like he's obviously not like the most jolliest person to be around.
Right. Even though that's the face that he puts.
Maybe around friends and family, he might be more genuine. But like, if you bumped into him in public as somebody who he does not know, there's a potential it's going to be a not like great interaction.
I feel
like he might be a little like, I'll take a picture, or like he might tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, like let's say, because I won't say like, Will Smith could never, but it's just I'm just butthurt right now. That's why I'm talking like this. But
like Kevin Hart, I think is genuine.
Yeah.
At least from what everybody says, he's genuine.
He's very
So Kevin Hart's the type of dude that if this happened, he would get what you would be expecting.
Yeah, 100%. I do believe.
Will was just I think trying to.
I thought that he was on that level. Like I did think that
you thought he was more genuine than what he.
Yeah, than what.
I mean, maybe he is, but he's just like transformed into something else. Like he's still at the root what you think he is, but at the same time he's got a different mindset.
Overloaded with all different things, and he just doesn't know where to fire out. He doesn't have an offload ramp.
And then on top of all the other bullshit that's been going on the past couple of years with like the entanglement.
Yeah. No, I feel you, and I understand that frustration.
His mindset is just in a terrible place.
I'm just disappointed in the way that he acted because he acted for me, it's reprehensible because
now you can't admire him the way you did.
Exactly. And he used to be like one of my go-to. Yeah, it's true. He used to be
or
one
never
of my
get
go-tos.
to know your hero.
Yeah. He was like, because Denzel was like, I looked at Denzel and Will on like the same platitude, where it's like, where like Will was the more jovial version. Like Denzel, like I mean, and
I think Denzel just wants to be left alone.
He does, because Denzel's like, hey, I act. That's what I do for work. I get paid. I take care of my family. But he's like, all my friends have kids, and we talk about that kind of stuff. I was like, hey, because like I remember he was like, there was an interview, and they were just like, yeah, so you as an actor, and you know, you like you people, and he's just like, and not like in the black sense.
I know he was like,
yeah, like the actor is like, he's like,
this is a job. Like,
yeah. he separates who he is as a person from what he does, but what he does is heavily influenced by who he is as a person.
Yeah.
So you see it like reflected in his roles, like in The Equalizer too. Like he really wanted to. It was really important for that one like thing that like the relationship that he had with that one dude, that one kid who was getting involved with the wrong crowd, and he was just like he really wanted that to be a big part of it, because he likes showcasing that mentorship in the African American community. Like that was a big piece of who he was.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like he's not like, I'm here to father everybody, but he's like, but since I'm here, I might as well. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, that's phenomenal. Like he's able to do that, and he cares about that kind of stuff. And you see it like in how at least what's portrayed, like you see it in his personal life, and his unwillingness to be in the spotlight. Like, I don't, like, yeah. Oh, what's your opinion about this? Like, I don't tell you. I was like, none of your business. That's what it is. But it's like Will's like always like, I was like, oh, he's on that level. He's just a little bit more jovial. He's a little bit more camera friendly. He'll put out these memes. Like when his son did that one video, he put out that other video too. I was like, oh yeah, like he's just having fun with it. Like but I thought he was a genuine person, because I would see him in interviews. He would be talking about the books that he reads, the inspiration that he draws from. Well, like I don't think he's a psychopath.
Sociopath.
I know what you mean. but it's like But I had him on the level, like, I thought that he was just, I didn't think he was trapped in this Hollywood limelight type of mentality. I thought he was just this another strong black man.
You can't be, I don't think you can be that successful.
I mean, maybe not.
Because, like, Denzel's successful, but like you said, he stays out of it.
Yeah.
He's like, it's great that I make this money, and like I'll do interviews.
Yeah.
But like I'm not trying to be out there.
Yeah.
I'll be out there when I need to be, like if I've got a big movie coming out, and I'll do the late night shows and everything like that. But he's not like, hey, it's July and I've got nothing going on. I can stop by. Like he's not doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
So from the beginning, he is and still keeps himself, like you said, away from that.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? and I think that's why, like, how Matthew McConaughey is, because he said that when he started getting famous, he was already at a level, he was already rooted, and he had a fundamental idea of who he was as a person because of his upbringing and stuff like that. He doesn't do too much stuff. Yeah, exactly. But that's why he's such a well-rounded person also.
Because, he's doing podcasts and stuff like that. But that's like a cool thing to do.
Yeah, you just sit around bullshit.
Because then you get to listen to him talk for 3 hours, and it's hard to bullshit for 3 hours.
Yeah, he's just like...
Because eventually you're just going to come up like a psychopath. That's a real psychopath. You're just like, oh, it's just great. I'm just
like,
here.
Holy shit, this guy has a mask on for like 9 hours a week. Like, this is fucking crazy, yo. But, like, I think it's... that's the element that really upset me. I thought Will was a different person, and when he reacted the way that he did, because he was like adamant, like he was stuck on... I'm a defended his family.
Well, I wish I knew. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this before it happened, because then I would have given you a little bit of a more.
Man, well, let me. I'll say like.
I would have told you, hey, I think Will's a little bit off. So
what
would have happened? You'd be like, oh, James is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Right about it.
Oh yeah, I probably would have been a little bit tempered, but
And the Oscar goes to...
What is this?
The acceptance speech. So it's like a cool, cute moment, okay, I get it, nothing wrong with that.
Who is that?
Oh, John Travolta, Uma Thurman.
Is that John Travolta?
Yeah, he looks so different with a cue ball head, yeah. Yes. so different. Yeah, it was
Is it Samuel L?
Yeah, and Uma Thurman. So it's like the
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction crew. Yeah.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
I have seen this like 5 times.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if I could. It's like, but there's so many elements
I like
within
how
it.
you're the one that pulled it up and you said, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, you know what? I'm like,
It literally got to, thank you, and Richard Williams, I'm sorry.
It's just like, I was just so fucking pissed. Like, it's just, because he so first he invokes the name. Fine. He uses
I told
his
you why
platform
this
to
happened.
validate who, like, I didn't expect this to happen. Like, I thought that he was strong enough to be able to
really
confront the situation like a man.
That I said Will Ferrell. Will Smith was like an idol of yours.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Because I would have been able to help you out a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was so wrapped up in what happened, and I was hanging out with Pops, and I was just like, I'm gonna call you back. I was like, oh shit, man. I was livid, and because so like he's like, oh, he's a defender, and he tries to, so he's attributing himself as not just the actor, but like as a defender. Oh, thank you. Probably.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Thanks for the vodka, Putin. Shout out to Putin. It's like, but yeah, fuck this guy, man. And Putin. He's a little bitch too. Anyways.
But he's against the Nazis.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. He's fighting that one country, the big Nazi supporter with a Jew in charge. No, well, like he's attributing himself as a defender to the family. He's like, oh, in this industry, you have to take a lot of shit. I'm like, okay, that part, I'm sure is genuine. I was like, oh shit, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, but we
like,
broke this down.
right,
He was
cool.
trying to piece it all together.
I know, but he was piecing
and
it
make
together.
light of the.
But that's what's fucked up. Like, why make light of it? Just like,
Because he has to in that.
You don't have to. Bitch ass niggas have to. If people who are secure in their position,
okay.
don't have to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
I've been trying to explain this.
I wish he was stronger than he was.
There you go.
I wish he was a stronger man.
You're growing.
I wish he was a man. At all. Wish he had. Big Willie, my ass. Okay. I'll probably clip that up. That was fucked up.
Oh, the last part?
Yeah. But he's acting like with this crazy mind insecurity. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with him.
You're good?
I'm good.
You're safe?
What's happening? Yeah, I'm back in my safe space.
Okay.
I found a new hero. I just wanted a chance to talk about one of my other heroes, Colin Kaepernick.
So what is he? What happened now?
Yeah. I mean, no, like you saw that he had I guess a training video. He was like on the field and he was throwing he was practicing some kind of quarterback drill. Like he was just like throwing the ball. He was doing a couple of routes.
Yeah.
And he just like so then he just put it out on YouTube and people like. So what is this? Like, are you this guy trying to play? Like, oh, and people are like, oh yeah, Seattle should definitely pick him up. And then and everyone's like having their different takes about like, oh yeah, well didn't he?
I was trying to push that out, make it loud because that's what I thought of it.
We were like, oh, didn't he equate the NFL draft pick to slavery? And he just like. And people are just ripping in with all different kind of takes, and I don't know too much about the sport, like how good of a quarterback he actually is, but I could talk about the hypocrisy part of it, or like, and I know I have my personal feelings about it, so I was just like,
I think he's criticized too much because he wasn't as bad as I think a lot of people say.
Yeah, so I mean,
serviceable would be a good approach.
Yeah,
because the problem is like, do you know it? A little bit about football?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were... now I just got a brain fart and lost what I was going to say. what is it, the pistol? I think it was, but they were trying different formations.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically they were having guys like Robert Griffin.
Yeah.
And other guys. So basically,
I used to be proud to be like, yeah, I'm Robert Griffin.
Yeah, so like basically, the defenses ended up figuring out a better way to defend that, as any defense as the league does. Like you're gonna change a different formation, and then you're gonna be okay. Well, let's come up with the formation to then beat it, and then someone figures it out, and then like everybody then copies that, and then it's just implemented in the league, and then you have to hide it better, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that ended up happening, which then ended up putting Kaepernick or all of those type of like speedy quarterbacks, where they have to now be in a position where they need to be a better pocket passer, because then that keeps the defense more honest, which then allows that to open up, which then you can then utilize to start running play action ways. And all that.
Yeah.
So because he wasn't as effective as a pocket passer as he was when he was running around and getting big gains and having throwing for a good amount of yardage and touchdowns. He just he's not bad. He just
wasn't adaptable to those pinch situations. Okay,
he could still play in the league.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't he wasn't gonna lead you into the playoffs and potentially win a Super Bowl. Most likely. I mean, maybe if the weapons were right or a great offensive line, but he wasn't. He wasn't a Tom Brady that just wasn't allowed to bloom like that.
Yeah.
But then he wasn't a shitty quarterback. Right. Some people try and make it seem like no, he had a good arm. He was very athletic.
I think those things need to be separated.
Yeah. So I'll try and give him credit. I don't think he was a bum.
Yeah. And so I don't know about his athletic performance. I don't really want to touch on that too much, but I was kind of curious about his take, and I saw that clip or he's equating the draft or football to slavery, and I was just like,
I think I showed you that.
Oh yeah. But then I got real curious, and I was like, all right, well let me express my feelings on this guy, and then take it from there. But I was like, let me give this guy a fair shake though. So I was like, I know he had that show on Netflix that I was like, I'll never watch that bullshit. But I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. So I did.
Is it kind of like the Dear White People?
I couldn't watch that. Yeah.
It's not necessarily bad, but it's exactly what you think it is, and you're like, I don't know if I want to do with this.
It was more revealing than I thought it was, and it made me feel more sympathy for who he was, because I was like, oh shit, this guy has no idea.
We talked about this briefly.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's a tragic character.
What you think he just has an identity issue and he's trying to latch on to something.
Yeah, I think he's violently. I think he's like
violent.
Yeah, I think he's hyper aggressive.
Will Smith.
Yeah, I think he's or taking a Will Smith approach to finding his identity.
Will Smith needs to slap.
Yeah, I think he was talking about bald bitches because he's talking about cornrows in episode 1, and it's something about bald bitches. But so I watched it, and it starts off with that scene with the whole
the plantation thing.
Yeah. I thought your take was funny, but what about the white NFL players? Are they slaves too? it's like
because they're getting measured.
Yeah, the same capacity. It's like that's a stretch, bro. That's it's like.
But the whole point is that you're drafting people who were amateur athletes and now are becoming professional athletes.
Yeah.
And then you need to understand, this person's going to be a wide receiver. We know that the average wide receiver height is, obviously, I have no idea, but 6'3".
Yeah.
We'll just say, or 6'2". It's like average wingspan of that wide receiver is 6'8".
Yeah. And athletic,
then there's a wide receiver who's 5'9", but has on average is 0.2 or 0.3 of a second faster than the average wide receiver. Well, that's pretty fast because that's almost half a second faster on a dead sprint.
Right, and that's how they.
And then maybe at 5'9", his wingspan is like my wingspan is like 6 feet, and I'm 5'7".
Solid.
So if I was 5'9", what if my wingspan was like 6'4"?
Yeah.
So now I'm 5'9", but I have a 6'4" wingspan, which might help overcompensate for my lack of height.
Especially if you're receiving.
But then if I'm also really fast.
Yeah.
Well, then this is a guy that we could invest in and draft.
100%. These are just tools that they utilize to assess the assets that they're trying to acquire, but it doesn't.
Like there are guys who ran 40s and they were not good, and then they drop because it's like
because running in a straight line uninhibited is a lot different than whether you have a bunch of people who are like
it's because they're matching
push-ups for a living.
It's matching it up to what they're looking for at that position. So like we're looking for a linebacker. We like you, but your 40 is like 0.4 off. Yeah. Like slower than the average guy at your position that starts in the NFL.
Yeah.
We might take a risk on you in the 5th round, but we're not drafting you any time ahead of that.
Right.
No one else is really going to go after it because they don't need it, or they're like, too slow, doesn't matter, doesn't fit our scheme.
Yeah.
So then you may or may not even get to play in the NFL.
Right.
Because of a couple tenths off of your 40, but they're meaningful because
the metrics, whatever metrics that they're utilizing.
So you have to grade. It's just like basketball. It's like
you need anything. It's literally
anything physical.
Anything. I mean, shit. Academically, we all measure everybody off their SAT scores. We have a generic.
But that's
test
a little different.
I'm just saying that but where you're measuring
physical capabilities, you need to know like what someone's vertical is.
Yeah, but it's just like you're measuring assets like the same way that schools is like you're gonna give the school upwards of $40,000. But they're going to measure your ability to prepare and perform on this test as an indicator of your ability to succeed in school. They'll take your $40,000, but they want you to succeed because they want to take everybody. Ideally, they'll take everybody who's going to graduate, and then that way they graduate, and then they become alumni, and they contribute to the school, and the school even gets more money and then more notoriety because they're seen as a school that produces these great gems. Like everywhere does this. They have these basic metrics to assess these, but especially in athletic sports, like I mean, you could be
height, wingspan, weight, like.
And when you look at a fight card, like
body
it's
fat percentage,
exactly. It's just like
the fight
this person,
card reach length.
The reach of this, the weight is this, their weigh-in was this, they're this old, they have this many knockouts. It's all this fucking numbers. It's a way to assess human beings from person to person, but we do that in literally
calculating risks and everything like that.
Every element of life, like we do that. Like when you get hired for a job, what was your last job? What was your salary? What was your greatest asset? How much money did you bring into your last company? What's the biggest project that you worked on? It's like, what is your worth? That's all this is. But it's like oversimplify what you're worth.
I like how
they hate niggas.
I like how they had the guy that was like monitoring the draft shake hands with the overseer.
Yeah. Oh.
So some guy with a clipboard is just like, oh, that's a good 40, and then they're equating it to...
Yeah. It's like, it would be the same thing if a box...
to Big Daddy.
Yeah. It would have been like if a brothel, someone came out and it equated UFC fighters to brothels. Like, they check the weights, they try to look at the measurements, and they like assess how good I roll on the floor. Like, oh, this is terrible.
I feel so used and violated.
My naked body. They demand that I show my chest.
Strip to my underwear.
And perform in front of a crowd in a cage. It's just like, oh, God. But that was like the first clip. And then like the rest of the episode was largely like, I thought it was entertaining. I was like, oh, this is funny. It's just like it's just like him going through adolescence, and he's like living in these all white communities, and like maybe with like one or two other black people, and like trying to figure out like, oh yeah, I want cornrows, and like, oh, how do you do this, and like, oh, how am I supposed to lay? And his parents that are like from the 60s or something like that are absolutely oblivious to anything black culture related outside of what they see on TV.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, look at Allen Iverson, and they're just like, oh, look at this thug. And like he makes this simplification of an analysis where he equates, oh, well, they, like his parents and like everybody in that community included, equate Allen Iverson to this thugnificent or these nigga mentality because he just embraces his culture. You know, he embraces the dress, he embraces the hair, so that's why they hate him. And I'm just like, no, he's from that environment, so it's not like he's trying to be fictitious like Will Smith. But at least Allen Iverson, he was like, that's who he genuinely was.
Well, see, that's
and
what he was.
like,
That's what he would. Like, that's why people like didn't like it. Like,
yeah, it's like
people weren't looking. I mean, they probably were looking at Steve Harvey with the big suits, thinking he was a joke. But like, they weren't like, oh my god, you can't trust that. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and the NBA has always had an image problem. And so when
that's what they came up with the dress code.
Yeah.
Because of Allen Iverson.
Yeah. But it's like, but the way that Colin Kaepernick was looking at it, at least in the first episode, was like a hypersimplification of all those elements, and I was just like, oh wow. And the way that he portrays like the people around him in the school, his coaches, his parents, and he kind of gave props to his parents where he's just like they were just like, oh, like, why are you wearing cornrows? Like, oh, get that thing out your hair. Like, they didn't even know what it was called. Like, that's how out of touch they were. Like, and then
Was
like
he talking about the pick?
No, he was just talking about just him having cornrows because he's always had this unkempt afro, or like sometimes they'll keep it short. They'll go to a white salon. But like he would never have a buzz cut or a shape up or anything like that. But then his friend, a black kid that he goes to school with, has cornrows, and he's like, yeah, I know this one lady who could do it for you. And so he goes to this girl's house and he gets it done. And then he's just like, oh, okay, I got it done. But then he had such a hard time because he didn't know how to maintain it. And then he kept scratching it. And then eventually he took it out. And his mom saw it and was just like, all right, I see that he wants to be like this. So she goes to a black neighborhood and finds a place that does his cornrows. And you see she's all uncomfortable and she doesn't understand what's going on. Shit like that. It's like the most like the Brady Bunch meets Southside Chicago.
Jefferson.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. But it's just like, but I was like, wow, if this was his childhood, like if this was like the environment that he grew up in, like, and the way that he's making these assessments of like, oh yeah, they didn't like Allen Iverson because he embraced black culture. It's like, no, that's where he's from. He didn't embrace black culture. That's who he is. It's like,
black culture isn't that.
Yeah,
it's like.
And it has multiple, a lot of faces, but he simplified
North,
it.
South, middle of the country,
Yeah.
country, suburbs,
There's
city.
the black farmers, the inner city blacks. There's blacks that just came yesterday.
Chicago,
Yeah,
DC, like it's
the black Cubans. Like it's
foods.
Yeah, but he was so.
It's all predicated on region and like state.
Right. But he looked at it the way that a lot, like, you know, these cats and like
cats.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, no. He's looking at these cats.
Hey, I'm showing my age, yo. But like these like whatever, these youths in like the suburban, like in PG County, they'll be like, oh yeah, things are so ghetto out here. I'm like, shut the fuck up, yo. Like you live in a fucking house. Like, go eat a dick. Like, I don't want to hear your bullshit. Like shut up. But it's like they associate the typical hip hop culture to the black experience in America, and it's like, no, it's not everything. It's not everybody.
It's more to it than just that.
Yeah, but like so I just started seeing him as a tragic character. I was like, oh, this guy just has no fucking idea who he is. Like, he's violently, and at the end of it, it's just like this. One of his baseball coaches are like, oh yeah, he has to cut his shit off or else he can't play. And his parents are like, yeah, you have to do this. What the coach said. And he's like struggling with it. And then he's just like, eventually he concedes. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But it's just like, in showcasing, like, he's trying to portray it like as justification as to why he's so vocal at speaking out against what he sees as racist culture in the NFL now. Because before he didn't speak out against it, now he will. But then again, now he's on like putting out YouTube videos about him throwing the football around. So I'm just like, what? Which one is it, man? Like, you have to make a stand for what you say. Like, don't sit over here and bullshit. Now he's playing games. Either he wants to get back in the NFL and he's doing this shit.
I think it's all publicity.
Yeah, or he's just doing it because he knows that they won't call him back to the NFL, and he's just like, see, they still won't take me back, and he's trying to be relevant. And I'm just like, either way, I mean, you're being less than 100% honest to somebody, and I'm like, I really don't like that. That's 100%. I mean, I would say bitch ass behavior, but I honestly don't think he knows any better. I don't think he understands who he is. I think he's finally trying to figure out how to fit into everything. Like, I just don't think he knows. But yeah.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, those are my heroes, Kaepernick and Will Smith.
You're very depressing.
Oh man. I want to finish up with the John Oliver clip, but they have HBO has like really strict guidelines on copyright, so I had to like clip all that stuff out. So or clip out the parts where we showed the John Oliver. I'd have us reacting to it, but the parts where we're showing John Oliver on the screen, they're just like I have to clip it out.
Or they just can't. Okay.
Yeah, it's just getting blocked on YouTube. So I was like, oh wow, they're real vicious with this. So. We'll probably circle back, and we got time for this. Yeah, I mean, essentially, what was missing in the clip, we were talking about school choice, and they're equating school choice to
racism.
Yeah, and it's like that's another oversimplification.
But how's it racist?
The way that they look at it is like, oh well, these alternative schools are taking money away from public school systems, and public school systems have a large majority of black and brown people in them. So inherently, by taking money away from them or from these schools, you're taking money away from those people, and you're doing that because you hate black people. You're racist fuck. So that's an oversimplification of school choice.
Can't the black kids then just pick their school?
100%. They can't, but they're not talking about that. And it just goes back into like how
I would feel like most families would want their kids going to schools that would have more white people in them.
Yeah, well, they have.
I mean, not because there's more white people.
Yeah, but it just so happens that those are the schools that are higher performing. Yeah, because that's the system that they have. They have.
Because like, why would you want if you're at a public school in like a bad area? Mm-hmm. Why would you want your kids going to a school where like you need metal detectors to make sure people don't bring guns?
100%.
Because they're bangers, not because they're like these crazy white kids who then shoot up a school. But it's like no, it's like you are around firearms on a daily basis because you bang.
Yeah, and because like because when I was in DC, like we went to we got into this Rashid got into this school, the STEM school in Northeast DC. And I was like, thank God we're not in Southeast. Even though we live in Southeast. Don't want to go. But we got into one of those STEM schools, and the school was amazing. Some of the teachers were phenomenal. They have more credentials than you'll ever need to be a teacher. But like above and beyond, and they do all these different things. But they get jerked around so much. It's like they can't really teach what they're trying to teach because they have to follow this program. And then on top of that, it's like, it's the kids really like, and it's not all the kids. Like you'll have one or two bad apples in every class, and that's enough to like disrupt everything. Or like there was a kid like he was in school, and he was in this class where he would just sit down, and there's this kid who would just get up and he would just walk out the room randomly, and the teacher just has to address it. And that kind of takes away from instruction time. So like, that kind of environment is like, oh, I'm sure that parents would rather not have their kids in an environment where
that's what I mean.
That would likely to happen.
If you had a choice between like some school in Southeast or like or
Northwest
Northwest or like a close suburb.
Charter schools in that
a close suburb within Maryland or something like that. Like you would be like, oh yeah, sure, and then there's just gonna be more white people there.
Yeah, you know what's crazy when you look at like when you look at different metrics, like the prospects of getting into of graduating or the prospects of getting into university. If you looked at the school zones, like some of the best school zones are around DC. Montgomery County with the Chevy Chase and all that.
Fairfax County's good.
Fairfax, phenomenal. One of the best in Virginia, one of the best in the country. DC is like, yikes. There's great schools in DC, but it's just like, there's some rough areas. But it's not necessarily the schools in and of themselves. It's just that the people that go to those schools are dealing with so many different problems that it's really hard to get that
economic, social, family.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean that this is set up on purpose to spite black people. It's like, no, it just so happens that because of the policies
there's a bad trend.
This is what it is. Yeah,
it's a bad trend in like learned behaviors, and that's just what it is.
Yeah. But
obviously, people are gonna who care about the kids would not mind them leaving that and being in a better area.
Right. Not because like, there's too many black kids in DC. It's like, no, it's a higher opportunity, a higher chance of my kid like not encountering this bad shit or these bad behaviors or having these good products if we move out to Fairfax or Alexandria or Chevy Chase, Rockville, whatever. So it's just, I think people are drawing conclusions because they're afraid, and I'm sure that there are people like the guy that Rufo, the one that Oliver was talking about, who are trying to paint the Democratic Party in this way or paint the school or these people in that way. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that stuff exists, but I'm sure there's just some people who just fucking hate the Democratic Party because they're just like, what the fuck are you doing for my kid in these schools? Nothing. All right, well, I got a problem with that.
Fuck you.
So I think there's like at least 6 different conversations happening at one time, and everyone is. I think there's people in the middle of the road. I think there's some people, and like how we were talking about, like people who are just like, oh, we care about this, we care about what makes sense, and like some people are like, okay, well, I don't want to take money away from public schools because I don't want to disenfranchise all these other people, but I care about the quality of school that my kid's in. Mm-hmm. And then there's people on the other side that are just like, I care about the quality that my school that my kid's in, and I'm okay with incentivizing the schools that perform well and de-incentivizing the ones that don't do well. Not taking money away from those kids, but taking money away from those institutions and putting it into the institutions that do, and then eventually the institutions that are poor performing get closed down, and then the other institution that's doing well will replace it. So then all those students will come over, and then they'll have a higher standard of expectations, and they'll be phased out in a relative manner that would work out for everybody, and then have greater prospects. So it's just like, those are the middle of the road people that I think most people are having these conversations, especially around critical race theory. I think that's where most people are with that. But then I'm sure there's other people that are talking about things like, kind of like what we were talking about, like stringent, like they'll never vote this way or they only vote that way. They only see things through this lens politically. And I have conversations on that political level, either left or right. And then there's even more extreme people who are just like, I'm racist and fuck that. These niggers never read a book again. Take away all that money. And I'm sure that there's people who are super liberal where they're just like, no, like San Francisco, where like we shouldn't have standards for tests to get into high-performing schools. We should just let everybody in. And it's like, but then the students that aren't high-performing will fail worse than they would otherwise. But that's their perspective. But I think that at least those 6 different perspectives happening all at once, and I think everyone's hyper-focused over that fringe element, the racist that's like, these niggers kids gotta stop reading. It's like,
it's just like the don't say gay thing. It's just,
yeah,
you're just hearing that base level, like, oh, well, the school choice is racist because it's going to take funding.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, but that's not necessarily, like, the problem, like, funding these schools more isn't going to make them have a better education.
Right.
Well, at this point, it isn't. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, we spent, I think it's like an average of like 10,000. Well, I don't know what it is now. It's probably way more.
I think it's like 24 or something.
Yeah, shit. Well, the last time I looked at the metric, it was like 10,000 per student per year.
I think it's 14. Maybe I'm off and it's like 14.
I'm sure it's more at least. I'm sure it's more than 10,000. I'm sure 14. I wouldn't be surprised if it says 24. I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's all these benefits to it. There's like so many things like food insecurity, solving food insecurity, or like making sure the kids are fed. It's like, it helps them think about the proper thing or right things in school. And there's so many schools that are hyper focused on doing all those things, providing all these programs for these kids outside of food. Like they have like washing machines in the school, and they have like daycares inside the school for the kids who, unfortunately, they have kids out of while still in high school, and some of them won't be able to finish their education because they have to worry about childcare. There's some schools that provide the child care, so then the students can still finish out high school and then keep on progressing. But, there's just not a lot of, instead of hyper-focusing on those things, on like the things that are productive, it's like we're so focused on the things that, that just, I guess, what's it called? The wedge issues, the stuff that it's like, just calling out one thing or another, or hyper-focusing on like, we gotta fight against these racists. It's like, no, let's look at this as a problem and like try to get these people in these situations to the next level, as opposed to looking at it like, these evil people conspiring in the background, like hiding in the white hood in the middle of the night. I don't think the KKK runs the local budgetary committee. That's all I'm saying.
They could.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
The South will rise again.
Yeah. Alabama just hit us with the fucking hurricane. That maybe there are witches in there too. Just conjuring spells. Like,
the best I heard is that Jada was a witch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like some Manchurian candidate thing where like she had some type of control over Will and like snapped her.
Yeah. She saw him laughing and then he was like, oh my God. Oh, that's funny. Whew. Gotta figure out a way to end these things. I wasn't really prepared for anything else. So do you want to talk about anything else? Oh, you know what? I was, but it's too long to get into now.
What was it?
Jon Stewart. He had
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, it's interesting. I started with like moving backwards. He had when he was talking to Cory Booker, and I thought that was immensely constructive. And I was like, damn, like I never noticed the stark difference between John Oliver and Jon Stewart. Growth.
Well, he's had a lot of good takes, so I'll let him have a fucking one that you don't agree with.
Yeah, I'm just like even him like if you sit here down and listen to him talk to Cory about it, you're just like, wow, what a constructive way to look at everything. Mm-hmm. But if you sit down and watch him like on the panel with like the three other white people, it's just you're like, wow, like your bias is in full effect. It's
okay.
You're like, and I think he's unaware of how his bias is looking at it. I think he thinks he's looking at the big picture, and people who disagree with him are blind or like don't know, because he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And as opposed to understanding that he's looking at it from one perspective and they're looking at it from another perspective, and instead of getting emotionally beaten down by the things that they disagree on or the differences, just be like, okay, you could have that opinion, but since this is what the reality of the situation is, this is the solution to the problem. I think people are too, including him, way too focused on the problem to understand how to move forward with the solution. But when he's talking to Cory, they're all about the solution. And I think Cory does a good job of articulating why we can't get stuck in those little ideological sniping matches.
That's funny that he says that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he's kind of
a
perfect example of that.
I don't know.
And you can hear the dishonesty when like he's giving speeches sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, this is complete bullshit, and you don't even believe what you're saying.
Yeah. The only thing, the element that I attribute that I saw Cory kind of talking like this was when he's talking about he was on a panel and they were talking about education, and it was like this guy who was from the Khan Academy, and they were talking about ways to revolutionize the educational system. But like outside of that, like for the most part, he's just like he's not the symbol of bipartisanship. But he admits in the interview, he's just like, well, I don't know what the solutions are, But he's like, but I'm just trying to do the best that I can to be the best version of myself, to do the greatest that I think that I can. And so I think he's more honest, at least in this interview. He's more honest about his bias than I think Jon Stewart is capable of acknowledging in himself. But I don't know. That could be me diving too deep into it. But
I think you're okay.
yeah, we'll dive into it next time, or if
that'll give me a chance to actually watch it.
Yeah.
So then I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we'll see what other witchcraft happens in between now.
She might cast another spell.
Yeah, that's about it. Nothing else happened, right? Anything significant?
I don't think so.
Outside of I don't want to touch you, Jane. But
until next time.
Yeah, next time.
Adios, muchachos.
Peace.
When actor Will Smith jumped on the Oscar stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock in the face after a joke about his wife Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yep. We just got back from the Oscars. I'm so happy that y'all came to me. But everybody and they mama and they baby catfish and they pet lizard know what happened tonight with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Okay? I'm sitting in the audience. I didn't know what the hell was going on. When he got up to go do what he was about to go do, I just thought he was just bringing back some of his old movies. Okay? Because he brung back Hancock. He brung back Ali. And you seen Chris Rock have. He was about to knock the pursuit of nappiness out of Chris Rock hair. If it ain't true, more now than ever, I said in my head, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. Everybody hate Chris.
That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. I'm out to smack the shit out. Will Smith.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking...
I look like the crazy father, just like they said.
Emotional damage! When Michael Richards hit the stage at the Laugh Factory, he said some of the worst slurs imaginable, except for making fun of bald wives. Because even Michael Richards knew that bald wife jokes are a line that should not be crossed. In the odd case, after a comedian finishes his or her medical assessment of the audience and finds out that one of the bald wives in the crowd was a bald wife as a result of a fashion statement and not a medical situation, even then I would handle that bald wife joke with extreme caution. If you want to make fun of the fact that someone's bald wife is having sex with his son's friends, then be my guest.